Good morning, Vietnam, or evening, depending on where you're watching. I am here, as you can tell. Welcome in. Hopefully, everyone is doing okay. It's been a hell of a week. For good reasons this time. Unlike previous weeks, which have had less than optimal days, this one, there's been some bangers, and I mean that literally. There is a clue in the song that is playing right now. It's not a coincidence that I have this playing right now. So, welcome in. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing pretty well. Got a little bit of a headache, but the headache was worth it. It's one of those ones where, you know, you get a headache, and you don't always know what caused it, and it's just a pain to deal with. I know mostly what the headache was from this time, and I will complain a little bit about the headache, but the reason for the headache was a lot of fun, and I will talk about that probably a lot this stream. There may also you may also notice I've got these now. Don't know how long I'll be using them for. I only got one set, and that set's only good for a month. I'll probably buy more. I like them. They're growing on me. So as you can tell, I got contacts. They're not prescription contacts or anything. They're just aesthetic ones. If they were prescription, I probably wouldn't need these. Granted, these are like very mild prescription as it is. So it's not a big difference, but it is a difference. And I got them because they look kind of cool. Because, like, you know, there's so many different contacts. I was like, yes, I could have, like, my natural, if you've been here before, you know what my eye colors are like. I don't have something on hand to show you my eye colors because my profile picture is black and white, so that doesn't help me. But I have these ones, and because, you know, sometimes if you get contacts, you just go for a different color. So, you know, I normally have like a bluish green eyes. Maybe I wanted to change them to brown. Maybe I wanted to change them to light blue. No, that's too normal. I went on a trip 2 days ago. I went to a concert. I wanted to stand out. My outfit was good, but it was not specifically standing out for the concert I was going to. I wanted something else to make people go, what the fuck was that? So I got the contacts. These are mini sclera contacts. I'm not entirely sure of the measurements. They're either 15 or 17 millimeter ones. Because I just love that kind of unearthly vibe that they give. And at least with this, I can kind of, it allows me to justify when I get funny looks from people on the street. It's definitely the contacts and not the fact that I'm wearing alternative clothing in what is essentially a country town. So, granted, I haven't worn these out in my current town. I've only worn them, well, for streams, for photos, and for the concert. The concert was a lot of fun. And I will be talking about that again, probably a lot. Because there's also been a couple of other things, a couple of other changes with the stream. I may play a game, no promises. I may play a game at some point. I don't know how long the stream's going to be, as I really should put in like my about page or something. My social battery is not generally super amazing, so how long we go kind of just depends on vibes. I have a game. If I play a game, it's going to be Little Nightmares because I enjoyed playing that last stream, and I would legitimately play that more. I have recently started playing BioShock in my downtime, and hello King, welcome to the stream. I've just been doing my intro. How was the concert? Well, funny that you mentioned that. So I've only briefly mentioned the concert so far, in that is one of the reasons why I now have these contact lenses, because I wanted something that stood out a little bit. And These do it. These get people to do. These get the double takes, and that was a lot of fun. So I went to a concert, as you've probably gathered, and the fact that I have been very open about that in basically any chat that I have been in over the last month. It's been a lot of fun. I went down a couple of nights ago to see the K-pop band ATEEZ, and it was kind of funny because I didn't even know who ATEEZ were a year ago, and apparently they were the ones to break my 5-year concert going dry streak. So it was a lot of fun. It was definitely worth it. I was slightly deaf by the end of the night because there was so much screaming going on in that arena. It was so loud. I wasn't surprised, but you know, I am autistic, and that was kind of pushing my limits a little bit on that one. But the enjoyment counteracted the fact that my brain was just like, there's a lot, and the fact I was having fun kind of just like it kind of counteracted that a little bit. Managing to get again, thank you. I do what I can. It was worth it. It was worth the headache and the near autistic meltdown, but I kept that under control again due to the fact that, you know, how often do I do this? I was just like, I am not ruining my own time because my brain was having a funny moment. But it was definitely very fun. They played for quite a decent amount of time, and yeah, it was. Oh, I have a visitor. She may potentially appear on camera. Hello. Hello, you. Hi. Don't know why she's here right now. Hi. You've got someone said hello. Are you going to say hello back? I guess not. But she says hi. I'm saying hi on her behalf because she's being rude. Boop the snoot. Oh, she can't. She's off camera now, but come on. Boop it. Boop it. Come on. Boop. There we go. It wasn't on camera, but you'll just have to take my word that there was a booping. And so I went to the concert. It was a lot of fun. My look was very similar to this. Can you go on? Okay. Well, she's being a bit camera shy at the moment. She just wants my attention. And I know it's not because she's hungry, because I gave her breakfast like an hour ago. So I think she just wants attention. So I can give her attention. Like, that's not a problem. As you can probably see by the fact that that tail is just all up in my business. And so we went to I say we. I went to the concert. We would imply others. Now, technically, we does also refer to, you know, plural, which kind of does work for me because I am a dissociative. I do have a bit of a dissociative system going on in my head. And that was actually one of the reasons why I went to the concert. So I was going to say funny story. It wasn't an overly funny story, but so as I mentioned, I am something of a dissociative system that does include multiple personality alter switches and so on. And whenever I go through anything particularly stressful, usually something will get shaken up in there. Now, some people may remember a few months ago, I had a little bit of a PTSD triggering incident, and that caused me to have one of those little shakeups. Unfortunately, the shakeup for this time was that the alter in the system that is primarily there because it has the ability to feel joy, one of the few in the system that are capable of feeling joy, that alter went bye-bye. It went dormant. And that's not super helpful because feeling joy is kind of a good thing. And the last time that happened, it took me several months to get that part back. Are you biting? Okay. I've got a chocolate bar on my desk and she keeps biting at the wrapper. So part of the plan, part of the plan, part of the plan for this trip was, I wanted to see if I could do something spontaneous and fun, and see if that sparked something back up again. And so I thought, hey, if anything is going to be fun, that's going to be a concert. And lo and behold, ATEEZ are doing this big tour in Australia, and I've kind of in the mood for a concert, so let's go do that. So I did, and it was a lot of fun. It was very exciting. I can still feel excitement, so that's great, kind of. But unfortunately, it did not spark that one back out of dormancy, which is a little bit annoying. And so, oh well. But yeah, because it's a weird feeling being able to feel excited, but not necessarily like happiness about something. Because it's a weird, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like it's in the gut level excitement, but at the same time, it's like it's just kind of like mentally I'm meh, but excited. So it's an excited meh. Hooray. But I went to the concert. That was a lot of fun. And it was kind of funny. I did a post about it. Well, I did a story about it on my Instagram that, like, I don't hide the fact that I am gender fluid, which falls under the non-binary trans umbrella. And at the ATEEZ concert, the demographic skewed heavily towards the female side of things. It was probably like 85%. So that's one advantage to me being gender fluid, is that I don't necessarily identify with any fixed concept of gender. So men's room had no line. So that's where I went. Granted, the first time I went, there was no one else there, and it was fine, and I just did my business and left. When I went at the end, there were other people in the room. It was kind of funny. As I was walking in, I had a guy walking out, and he was like, "This is the gents' room," and I was like, "I know where I'm going." So it's just like, how else do I respond to that? I was like, "Oops, silly me." If I was binary trans, that would be a different question, and I would feel a lot less okay with that. But gender fluid, it has its advantages sometimes. So I did that one. I just kept walking. I think the fact that I don't really bother a lot with voice training kind of worked in my favor a little bit with that, because I looked very, in my opinion, I looked particularly feminine in my outfit. I had the full face of makeup. I had a little bit of cleavage going on there. I don't have a lot to work with, but I got some. And so I had that. I had the, all of that going on, walking into the men's room. So I can see why people were confused. Which was, it amused me to no end. Why don't we all just do unisex? Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. It's that's the thing. The train stations, like when I went to go to the loo there, they were all unisex, but apparently at the arena, not so much. So I just see if I can find a picture of what I was working with on that day. Oh, where is it? So, for example, hopefully this will... No, it just says Sydney. That's fine. It's not doxing me. So, that's what I was working with on the concert night. And so, yeah, understandably, there was a little bit of confusion from the gentleman that passed me as I was entering the loo. We all have man house. We absolutely do. That's also kind of the other reason why I don't really care which one I go into, because it's a toilet. As long as I'm not like offending anybody, then I posted it. I did. Well, I posted in one of them. I don't think I posted in both, but I definitely posted in at least one of them. And yeah, so I had that going on, and so that was it amused me. And I'm sure that probably would offend someone on the internet. I'm sure my existence offends several people. It's hard to I don't get people. Just let people be people. Who's hurting? Who is it hurting anybody? So it's always someone offended. There is. So I don't get why people are like that, but they are apparently. So I just do what I do because if there's someone that's always going to be offended, I'm never going to be able to please everybody. So I just do what works for me. I am okay with that. So, so I went to the concert. It was good fun, and I went in, and it was a lot of gatherism. I had their own because the urinals. But yeah, well, that's still. But as long as there's stalls, that's the main thing. But yeah, like it's just. I don't know what to say to that. People are weird sometimes. They're funny like that, and I don't know. I just do what I do. If it helps me achieve any kind of happiness, then I will do it. That advice could kind of backfire, I'm sure. So, don't quote me on that, because I'm sure what brings other people happiness definitely varies to what brings me happiness. Granted, also, I don't currently have the ability to feel happiness, so that statement doesn't make sense. Ignore what I just said. That means nothing. So I went to the concert. I saw ATEEZ. There were some very pretty men there. There was a lot of pretty people there, but they are very fine people in person. It makes sense in context. Yes, thank you. That is what I meant to say. I say unfortunately, but based on the stories that I had heard from streamer Raven Alternative, who has also seen ATEEZ live, she had made mention of barking at several of the members of there, and when I always heard those stories, I was always like, why are we barking? What's the deal with that? I get it now. I can no longer assert motherhood. Yeah. I can no longer hold myself above that, because there may have been a few songs in there, and I may have joined in on that. So yeah. I can now no longer claim ignorance of that. Well, I joined in a little bit. The headache slowed me down a little bit, but I joined in a little bit. And I was probably more involved in the screaming as opposed to the barking, but it was, yeah. The barking also kind of works in context, so it didn't feel out of place. So I kind of get why the barking now. So that's her. I did kind of, well, not necessarily apologize to Raven, but I did basically say, look, I get it now. And so yeah. But that was good. There was a lot of songs that I was not familiar with, because like probably. And there was a lot of songs I'm not super familiar with because I'm only a relatively new A-teenie. But many of them have been added to my playlist now, including this playlist that is playing now. I don't know why I was pointing over there. That means that's chat for you. That's my music player for me. But also chat. I have a lot going on over on that screen. I really should organize that screen better at some point. But yeah, so so it's I don't know if because they're being requested on repeat. Yeah, to be fair, a lot of those being requested on repeat are by me and Raven, and I think there's at least one other person. More stroke records. That's fair. I got a bit of that on my playlist as well. And Jinx, that is true. Jinx does. Wow, there's more people than I realized. But yes. But generally speaking, if there's one being that I'm usually adding at least one per stream, and now I'm more familiar with some of their songs, and so I kind of get it now, and so I can't really. Now I have more to listen to on my playlist, and I'm like, I don't necessarily know if I need more to listen to on my playlist. My playlist is so long already, but I have one, and I just added a whole bunch more. Because a lot of it was like, I don't know their fancy words, but they do sound good, and those boys can dance. I'll give them that. And they definitely know their audience. I will give them that, because there was a lot of songs where, well, not a lot. There was several songs where they basically, like, they just had the music playing and they just let the audience sing. And I think I may have actually posted one of those videos on my Instagram as well, because it was just like, I don't even know if the group was singing, because all I could hear was the audience singing. And it's one of those ones where it's like, I would sing, but again, I don't know. Still don't have Insta. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, you don't necessarily need Insta. It's one of those things. And like, I don't have a Facebook, for example. I think I mentioned this in the last stream. Meta were being a bitch, and they banned me they banned my personal Facebook, and then I just got annoyed and was like, well, fuck it. I'm not building up a new one, because I tried to get a new one, and they went, aha, you're the same person. No, you gotta go. So I don't have that. It took a while to get the Instagram that I currently have to work without being banned. So I don't want to push my luck by trying to go back onto Facebook with that one. But it's, yeah, I mean, Facebook could be a good option, because it's one of those things where, like, if I'm streaming, if I'm doing content creation, and I am trying to build some kind of audience, having as many platforms as possible is kind of beneficial. But I've heard very few good things, I should say, about the people that, like, from people about posting on Facebook. Because, like, it can be good, but it's Facebook, and people are kind of just assholes there. But in a different way to the people being assholes on X, formerly known as Twitter. That one mostly just seems to be filled with racists. So, and Nazis, apparently. I do have a Twitter/X, but I very rarely use it. I check in on it like once or twice a month, and that's mostly just to see if anyone that I follow has posted anything interesting that I may have missed. So it's not like, I know a lot of people use that to advertise as well, but I'm just like, I don't know if I want to necessarily get the people who would see it on X. So X is fun like that. Have a Twitter account thing. Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's just like, I forgot I had one for a very long time. It's like, I'm pretty sure I had a MySpace out there at some point, and then they shut it down. But I'm pretty sure it's still out there somewhere, if you know where to look. Granted, there's not really much on it. Mine was not very Mine was not a particularly busy MySpace. And luckily, I have a Tumblr account, but it has no connection to anything that I do here. There's nothing bad on it, and I haven't posted on it or even looked at it in months, probably even years. Maybe at some point made one tweet and then never used again. Yeah, that's fair. Probably for the best to not use too much on that one, because apparently I've been seeing a lot from a lot of people that apparently with X at the moment. Oh, we got a guest again. You technically do have an algorithm. However, the algorithm seems to be chosen more by the people who run X as opposed to an algorithm run by what you are looking at. And that doesn't seem good. So, obligatory Angel. Nice. Welcome in, Angel, also. Probably best that the car and the Angel do not meet. Granted, other side of the world, so you're probably safe. What are you doing? I probably have too much on my desk as well. So she just keeps finding things and she keeps finding things and trying to knock them over, which I don't appreciate. But again, that's kind of my fault for leaving stuff on the desk. So that's on me. Well, virtually zero is not zero. So never say never, but it is incredibly unlikely. It's probably zero with many zeros after that, and then a one. You like the odds are pretty good the odds are probably pretty stacked in your favor in that regard. So there is that. I just noticed, I've mentioned in previous streams, my cat has a little scratch on her forehead because she has a habit of running face first into a window whenever she sees what is either a neighbor cat or a stray cat. And I was very happy to see that when I looked at her yesterday, the scratch on her head seems to be healing, which is a positive sign because it means that she's less likely to smack her head into the window. Because she kept reopening it for a while. Get you a mobile for wind down. Fair enough. That's all good. It is kind of getting quite late for you guys, so that is understandable. Yes, no, it is good news. If she is whacking her head, she's whacking it with less force, so she doesn't seem to be reopening the scratch on her head. So I'm very happy for that, because I know the cat's still there and she's still running into the window, but she seems to be doing it with less force now. So win. We will take the wins where we can get them. I was actually a little concerned when I saw that the scratch was healing, because I was like, oh, is the cat no longer coming by? Is that why the scratch is healing? Because she's no longer running into the window. No, she's not. She's still just she's either getting used to it or she's just running into it with less force. But yes, I also discovered between streams that there's a couple of different features that I have apparently unlocked without knowing between streams, most likely, which is funny because like I'm still working my way up to affiliate. So again, that's a work in progress. That again, it'll happen. It's just a matter of time. But I've managed to unlock some other ones, which I've unlocked another couple of features which were a little surprising, because I'm pretty sure you're meant to get them after you get affiliate. One was a little confusing. The other one was mostly just unexpected, because I can do VIPs now, which was really funny, because I was just like, I'm not even affiliate yet. Why am I able to give VIPs? But apparently I can, because most likely due to one of the recent raids, because there's a couple of different qualifications, I guess, that you need for that. One of which is 50 followers, which I've hit. That's great. Now I'm above that. There's like two other ones. I can't remember what one of them is, but the other one is to have 15 people active in chat at any one point. And I can understand why they would normally attribute that to being an after affiliate thing. Because having 15 people talking in chat is not generally a common thing for someone who has not yet made it to affiliate. Except since I got rated either last week or the week before that, I don't remember specifically which, I had a lot of people, I believe it was from Crow's stream, that joined in, and from there, that apparently tipped me over the line to be able to 2 weeks. Yeah, that sounds about right. But because of that, that tipped it over the 15-person chat threshold, and that one's not one that I necessarily need to maintain. I just need to have hit that once. And I have now, so apparently now I can do VIPs, which is really, really funny. Because again, like I said, I've not even hit affiliate yet, and yet apparently I can do VIPs. So I have put a couple out there. We will see if any of those people come into stream, and if they do, if they notice. Because I think at this rate I get like 20. I'm assuming like affiliates and partners get like more to that, but 20 is more than I need at this rate. Again, I do not have enough people on my average stream to warrant 20 VIPs. I also have no idea. Yeah, that's fair. But it's but I have it now. And like I said, I've put a couple out there. If the people that have them come in, they may just be surprised to see it. That would mean, it would absolutely mean that at this rate, because at the moment I've got like 3 or 4 regulars for the most part. I would have so many spares. like I said, I've given a couple out already, but whether they ever come into stream and notice that, that's up to them. I'm not going to tell them. I'm just going to let them find out. But I have my reasonings for the ones that I have done. Oh, you absolutely count as a regular king. You are definitely, I mean, I don't know if there's like an official category, but I'm pretty sure you would fall under a regular if there is an official category. Ding ding, hello, welcome Sven. You are probably also close to being a regular as well at this rate. I think. Probably pretty close. I don't know. I don't know. I probably don't necessarily stream enough to consider what I would have as like regulars. But I have some regulars. You are pretty close to a regular. If I streamed more, it would probably be a bit tricky. Lizzie, welcome in again. Hello again. That is, funnily enough, you are also one who I would consider a regular, and I say that as a good thing. You want to be uncommon? Well, I mean, if I streamed more, you probably would be, because you probably wouldn't be able to get to all of my streams due to the fact that my stream schedule is a regular. So that, yeah, of course you count. I think you were one of like my first regulars. So, yeah, it's good, and it's kind of funny actually. So, got basically all my regulars in chat right now. You are special. Everyone who is in my chat is special for different reasons, and I appreciate the fact that you all keep coming back. That was unrelated to stream. I was feeling very ignored recently. Not like stream or really. It's just like a childhood trauma. So it's a recurring thing with me, but I try not to dwell on that. He also here too. That sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah, she's here pretty regularly. She's not everyone's able to stay for like the whole stream, but I just appreciate the visits. They all count. And yeah, So for anyone who has just joined me, as you may or may not be able to tell based on my stream title, I touch grass. Doesn't happen very often because I work full time and that does not allow me a lot of energy to do much else. But I did. I went to see the K-pop band ATEEZ on the weekend. It was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It was definitely worth the headache that I that I basically had from like halfway through the show onwards, because I was almost positive I was going to go deaf by the end of the show. It was I say that as a good thing, because there's one, again, I don't do concerts very often. What's a little bit of hearing damage for some occasional fun? And like if I went to concerts more regularly, I would be more concerned, but I don't. This is like the first concert I've been to since like 2020 or 2021, something like that. I don't think I've been to anything since then. And I was just in a vibe to go to a concert, and wouldn't you know it, that group just happened to be doing a tour in Australia right now. And I was like, you know what? That timing is perfect. I'm going to go do that. Do I have it in my budget? No. But how often does this happen? Personally, been to hundreds of concerts and have no hearing damage. That is very surprising. I'm always paranoid about that. I've always been paranoid. Like, I know that at least one concert, I've literally worn like earplugs. Like you can still hear it, but it was like not as deafening. But A, I didn't think that far ahead this time, and B, again, I was just going with it. It was a lot of fun. I was like close enough to the stage that I could still like see everything without having to rely on the screen, but not so far away that like I had to rely on the screen. I didn't have to rely on the screen, but I also could see everything. It was a good distance. Earplugs is normal shit. Yeah, that's in this case it was more just that I forgot until I was there. But I realized during the concert I was like, I probably could have worn some earplugs right now. But this time I just kind of forgot. But last time I definitely did end up wearing them because actually no. It was a couple of concerts back. I've been to a few different concerts of various different genres. This is my first K-pop concert. I went to one by the musician Hans Zimmer, who does a lot of movie scores. I wore earplugs for that because I knew that shit was going to be loud. I haven't been to a concert in 10 years, nothing about hearing. Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, I probably should have thought about my hearing, but I was like, I'm already here. Hearing damage you can fix only to it. Yeah, I remember you saying that the other day. That was really annoying. Also, one time someone laughed at me when I put them in. Yeah, that's the thing. You just kind of got to go with it. And it's like, that's the thing. Like, you're there to have fun. And if you go deaf, that's not super fun. But it was one of those ones where I was like, I think even if I was wearing the earplugs, I probably still would have been deafened because it was just that loud. Like, if it was just the show itself, that would have been fine. But that audience was like 85% women, and there was a lot of screaming. So, it's not scary part, it's nice. Yeah, I was also kind of a little bit concerned about that one as well. But luckily that all that kind of was gone by the next morning. So that's lucky. I was glad that didn't stick around. Hearing stuff, because I feel that's more to do with my jaw issues probably don't help with that either. That's really lucky. It was lucky because, like I said, when I was there, I was just like, I'm gonna be hearing this for the rest of the night, and Like I had a headache, and I still kind of do have the headache, but that's probably more from travel as well, because my body doesn't like traveling, which is really annoying. But luckily, with the 3 hours of sleep that I got that night, it's the ear pain seemed to ease off. The headache is still there, but the ear pain got dissipated, which is great. Not being lucky recently, I'm shoving adrenaline up my nose. That is not something I was expecting you to say. That's probably not a good thing. I hope that resolves itself, or gets better, because that does not sound like a great circumstance. Doctor's orders. Oh, okay. I mean, if it's doctor's orders, then that's probably best to go ahead with that. I've mentioned this before. I've not had a lot of luck with doctors in general. Like, I don't get a lot of doctor's orders because they very rarely are able to figure out what's wrong with me. So they're never able to actually give me instructions to fix whatever is going on. There's been a few different times that's happened, and it's just like, we can't fix you, so just take some paracetamol and fingers crossed. It's like about the extent of the doctor's orders I get from most of the time, which is not super helpful. But this time at least, I kind of went into it knowing I was going to have some kind of headache going at some point, and I still do, but it's getting better. But I do have some pain relievers, and they are hopefully helpful. Dr. Spencer have been blaming everything. Yeah. Luckily, at least I've got one doctor, which is a regular. They're generally pretty good with that. So they will generally kind of look past anything that might be related to that. But whenever that doctor's not available, then yes, they're just like, I don't know, it could be related to this. And I'm like, it's not related to that. And they're like, oh, but are you sure? And I'm like, yes. So adrenaline is really fun to take. Like, it wakes you. Oh, I definitely imagine it would wake you up. 100%. As long as it doesn't cause the crash on the other end. That's usually what happens with me when it comes to adrenaline, because that was, funnily enough, at the concert. I was running on adrenaline by the end of the night for that one, and I could just feel that. Like that kind of continued on until when I got home yesterday. And when I got home, I was just like, I know that this is the crash after this is going to be heavy, and it was, and that did not help the headache. But luckily, it's stabilized again, which is good. But yes, it's. Anything going up my nose wakes you up. Probably, but yeah, I mean, imagine that to a certain degree, there's probably not a lot of stuff that's meant to be going up the nose. So it probably would. I mean, for example, I have, let's say, this can of Monster next to me. It is not currently open right now. I imagine if I put that up my nose, that would wake me up, but probably not for the reasons that I want it to. Because that I imagine would burn quite a lot, and I'm also not 100% sure how I would do that. I don't know if I really want to try that. Maybe off stream, because that would burn. I don't know about that, but the idea is in my head now. So thank you for that. Can see my freak pulse. Right. So it's working then. That sounds promising. But yeah, I can't say I've had a lot of basically anything going up my nose, both medical or otherwise. So I'll have to take your word for that one. I've mostly, closest I've had is just like when you're drinking some cola and you breathe in funny and then it goes straight up the back. That's the closest I've had to something going up my nose, and that is not the direction it's supposed to be going. Um, down on babies not harmful, just expands the blood vessels. I mean, that makes sense. I imagine adrenaline would do that for a lot of things. So I can see why they would do that. Teeth brush, face wash. I'm going to go night. Have a good night, King. Thank you for dropping in. Get some rest. Watch back the end stream. Very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this stream. I may just keep talking, or I may play a game. I'm not 100% sure. See you next time. See you next time, King. Thank you for coming in. Be careful putting stuff up your nose, little holes with connects to your brain. That sounds about right. That's another reason why I don't make a habit of putting things up my nose. It's no idea. It's never, no, never, no once. It's well, I didn't get included in a lot of things in my youth. So the crowd of people that would have enjoyed putting things up their noses generally did not invite me to things, so I did not get to experience the highs and lows of stuff that goes up noses. I feel like this is probably a time I should be using this screen, given the topic of conversation. But it's yeah. I mean, the part about me not being invited to things is true. I'm not. That's not a lie. Also, the part about stuff not going up my noses is also true. So, yeah, the only thing that have gone up my noses is COVID tests, and they are not fun. They got to go all the way back up to the point you can feel it in your brain, and I don't care for that. I will get tested for COVID, and I will be responsible. But I really wish there was a way that does not involve jamming it halfway up to your brain. Shots in your eye. Okay. I'm not even sure how that would work. It was a bad idea. It doesn't sound like a great idea. But I do like to I do like hearing the stories from people, but I was just like, can't relate. Wish I could, but can't relate. Doesn't have to be. Well, it depends on the test. Like, my nose is shaped funny on the inside. It looks fine from the outside, but it's shaped funny on the inside. So it's not a great feeling having anything going up like past basically the length of this nail. 16-year-old is not right. Yeah, but it sounds like you had fun though. So that's the main thing. Like I said, I got excluded from a lot of stuff, and I realized in hindsight there was probably a reason for that. Apparently, autistic me did not get social cues. So even if people were inviting me, unless they specifically told me, "Hey, we're going to have a party," I was not going to parties, and people were not generally outright telling me about parties, so I didn't go to many parties. But yeah, was great fun. Many Dow stories. Yeah, I imagine it would have been. Most of my stories are not from my high school days. Although there is the time I punched the guy in the nuts for stealing my hat. That was fun. There's not much more to that story. Like, I can elaborate on that story. It's a fun story. But that was the gist of that story. It's the only fight I've ever been in, and I won. And I will claim that victory. I got my hat back. And what can I say? Nut shots are effective. Have a whole box of COVID tests, and that test just needs some. Doesn't have to go. Well, no, probably not. Luckily, I've not needed to. I just went to a concert. I probably should do one of those tests just to be on the safe side. Because I was just around like several thousand people. Probably not a bad idea to go and get a COVID test. Granted, I was not exactly up close and personal with people, but still. Funniest part was within all the boys from school. That doesn't sound like a great fight, but luckily, I was only ever in the one fight for me. Oh, it was great. Okay, well, that's all right then. As long as you're looking at it with a silver lining, that's the main thing. um, can't even get COVID tested. COVID apparently. Oh, that's really weird. COVID tests are still very easily available here in Australia. That's interesting that the UK is being more flippant about it. I was coming back home from HEMA training. Oh, then yes, that is probably, that would work in your favor. I guess having that training probably helps. I did not have training, but I did know that there are several parts of the human body which are weaker to being punched. And I was very short and he was very tall. So punching him in the nose, that wasn't going to work. Punching in the stomach, it was probably not quite going to work. But the nut shots, that was right where my arm needed to be. So don't pick a fight with the guy with the training sword. No, that seems like smart advice. Because that is, it's not, yeah. They did learn it. I'm sure they did. I think I have a training sword somewhere in my house, as I'm sure you're probably not surprised given what the amount that I've got in here. I'm pretty sure I have a training sword. I think it's like a Tai Chi training sword. I don't know where I got that from. Might have been from a festival of some description, I think. I mostly just got that to add that to my collection. Shocked Pikachu face? I know, right? It's like, what kind of swords don't I have? Funnily enough, I don't think I have a katana. That's going to annoy me now. I have a lot of different swords, but I don't think I have that. Ugh, that is so annoying. And I hate that I just realized that, because now I need to get one. Because I've got straight blades, got various types of long swords, and that one, whatever you classify that one as. Behind the ATEEZ poster up there, I have the angel blade from Supernatural, which could technically count as a dagger almost, I guess. Got another great sword downstairs. The training sword, a saber, and what else? What else do I have? Oh, I have one which is I think it's technically called a purba. It's a layman's terms, it's a Tibetan spirit dagger. It's for like purification rituals. You know, like the whole thing. I got that from like an actual Tibetan shop. The curved one? Sorry, which one's the curved one? I mean, I do have the curved one. That's the saber. That is not, that's downstairs. That's not in this room. Oh, if I Google, because like a Tibetan purba basically looks kind of like a shuriken a little bit. Yeah, it's close enough. Now, if I can go to this one. Now, where is my window? Here we go. So this, for example, is a purba. This is a Tibetan spirit dagger, essentially. Yeah, ritual dagger for conquering evil spirits and transmuting negative emotions like anger into positive energy. I don't remember why I bought it, but in hindsight, those things are probably helpful for me. Yeah, I got that from like an actual Tibetan shop. So I'd like to think that it does look cool. And it wasn't overly expensive as well, which is also a bonus. But yeah, I got one of those as well. I was just like, it doesn't really go with the vibe of the rest of my outfit, but it's, oh, not my outfit, the rest of my collection, but I like it. And like I said, it kind of works well for me when it comes to transmuting negative emotions into positive emotions. I feel like that's beneficial for my life. If I was to get a sword, I'd want a loaded one, preferably air ones. That's fair. She has a pretty cool sword. That there is a lot of Lord of the Rings swords that I would like to get. But the good quality ones get expensive, which is unfortunate. And yeah, I would definitely love to add one because I've got my, the pride of my collection is Endural, which I've got downstairs. It lives in my living room because that is the pride of my collection. 5-year-olds and swords don't mix well. Probably not. Especially shorter swords, which are easier for them to pick up. Because it kind of just reminds of that Vine where it's like the kid running around is like, hey, what have you got? A knife! And it's like, it's just, yeah, probably not something to have around 5-year-olds. So that is very fair. But yeah, they're fun to have. I really don't need more, but I want more. But that's just one of those things which was just like, I think I wanted them when I was in my 20s, and then I kind of got it ingrained, like, I don't remember where, but it was kind of that thing of like, oh, people who have swords are like nerds and lame. And that's kind of had a turnaround now because now nerdy stuff is cool. So I feel less weird having swords in my house now. Also, I don't really have guests, so who's gonna see it? That's why the boys go, yeah, that sounds about right. Like back in the day, swords were nerd things and nerds were lame. And so I was just like, I'm already considered a lame nerd as it is. I don't need to exacerbate that. And then, things change. Also, Cat, let's see if she pay attention. Look up there. Hello. Say hello. And then, yeah, over the last couple of years, nerd culture has been getting a lot more mainstream. And yeah, so that's kind of worked in my favor. She does. She seems to want attention at the moment. I'm loving the fact that she is getting more comfortable coming up here while I'm streaming now. As long as she doesn't press any buttons, we're fine. But she really just does want attention at the moment. And I just realized I have treats. And she knows I have treats. I think she may have forgotten about the treats because it's been a little while since I've given her these treats. But as you can see, she's keen for some treats. So she is like aggressively getting in my business about it. Ow! That is my hand. That is the treats on my hand, not my hand. Treat redeem, yes. It is an unofficial treat redeem because I don't yet have a treat redeem to do, but it's an unofficial one because I was here and she wasn't being immediately demanding. So for that she gets treats. I will give her that. But yes, I am very much looking forward to being able to do a treat redeem. And I think that she will enjoy that thoroughly as well. Because she is a little bit of a guts. There was a period of time there. There was a period of time there where I kind of had to stop scratching her on her head because she kept running into windows and reopening a little scratch on her head. But the scratch seems to be healing now, so I can touch it. I can scratch her head without feeling like I'm going to accidentally, whack her in the head wound. because she's not the brightest. Made a button machine that, oh, that's cool. I feel like one bit per treat might I'd probably, if I were to do that, I would probably have to make it a slightly bigger cost than that, or otherwise she would get very fat very quickly. But I love that she is here for attention today, even if that attention is all up in my business. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, now you're just abusing my equipment. A 100 bits would make a very happy cat at that price. Oh, she kept whacking her tail into the microphone. That's not like oh, the meds kicked in. Okay, right. Have fun with that. So I imagine you're like seeing sounds right now. I can't say I've ever had that particular symptom. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. Ah. I would open my can of Monster drink, but it's given how aggressively she's been wagging her tail, I don't know if that's the safest option. Screen is moving and hot. That's fair. Maybe give it a second to just kind of calm down. Oh, cat hair. Seen music before. That does sound pretty cool. Like synesthesia does. It's a wild concept. I can't even really like conceptualize that, because that's like, it sounds like it would be really interesting. But yeah, I've never had that myself. My senses, as far as I'm aware, all kind of match up to what they're supposed to be. But it's granted, I've learned over the years how to dissociate and turn them off, but I've yet to be able to mix them up, unfortunately. Only happened a couple of times while on stuff. That makes sense. Like I said before, I did not get invited to do a lot of that sort of fun stuff in my youth, so that probably doesn't help. I have such big eyes. I do. That's probably not helping at the moment. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm wearing the. Okay, I was trying to do that. I do have big eyes at the moment. I am currently wearing sclera contacts. I bought them for the concert, and they're reusable ones. So I figured I'd use them for stream. So apologies if that is freaking you out with the medication. I can't really do much about that, but I'm hoping that you are okay. But yes, it was I wanted something that kind of stood out. It's fine. I'm fine. That's good. I wanted something that kind of stood out from my outfit, because like there was a lot of people there, and there were some people that were dressed up and some people that were not dressed up. And I was somewhere in the middle, but I was like, I need something that makes this outfit pop a little bit. And in this case, I went with the eyes and made the eyes pop. And yeah, they were cool. They're not prescription or anything like that. These ones are just for the aesthetic. And yeah, so it's but I like them. I did kind of get them to freak people out, but not necessarily in the way that that's doing it. It was more just to make people go, what? And like double take about it. And I'm pretty sure I did get a couple of those whilst at the concert. So that kind of worked in my favor. I did have them covered up with glasses whilst I was on the train to the concert, because I was like, a lot of these people aren't going to the concert and they may not get it. A lot of the normies, so to speak. People are pussies if they get freaked out by that. Yeah, it's more just because it's like unexpected, I think, because I was saying earlier, like there's regular colored contacts like that. I could have gone the blue, the green, the browns and that sort of thing, but I was like, you know what, those don't stand out. If I wear those, no one's going to notice those. They might just be like, something seems different, but they wouldn't necessarily be like freaked out by it. But these ones are like big enough that people are like, hang on, what's going on there? And that one kind of worked. So I'm kind of glad for that, because it was, once I got to the concert, the sunglasses came off because I was like, you know what? I am in the right environment now. I don't really care if people see the eyes now. I kind of want people to see the eyes now. So that was, like, people can't track because you're staring at trying to track your eyes. Yeah, that makes sense too. That is kind of fair with these ones. They're like semi-blackout ones. And I say semi-blackout because it's, because if they were like actual blackout, I couldn't see a damn thing. That was something that I did see, like, from the site that the full blackout ones do look really good. But the site that I got these ones from was an Australian site. They did have the full blackout ones, but they basically said on the page for them that they were just like, yeah, you aren't seeing shit with these things in. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to risk that. I still need to be able to see things, and they're annoying to get in. I would very much believe that. These things were also kind of a pain to get in, but not like bad, but it was just like, I basically have to have the eye like fully open to get these ones in. The blue ones that make guys like people from Dune, yeah, they would, like, I'm sure they make those. I would definitely, I'm almost positive I've seen some of those. It's like a very vivid blue. Although like the sclera ones, I don't think they'd have, I don't know if they have those. I'm sure someone does. But I imagine it would be a little bit rarer than just like standard blue. I've found that like the full sclera ones tend to be mostly either plain black or plain white. Although technically I guess that would be a whiteout as opposed to a blackout, I guess. So, oh well. Now the screen is melting. Okay, that sounds like fun. Or I'm melting. Well, hopefully it's the screen. I'd prefer if either of them were melting, it would be the screen that you're watching as opposed to yourself. Because you melting sounds like a bad thing. But yes, hopefully you're okay with all these medications. Lovely doing. Gonna head to bed. Enjoy the stream. Thank you for joining today, Lizzie. It was good to see you again. Have a good sleep. Get some rest. Hopefully I will see you next time. It's meds, nothing. No, that's all good. You did mention it was meds earlier, so that is all good. Hate the other thing. That's fair. I've never actually had either of them, so I'm gonna have to take your word for that, because I've never actually had the other thing. So from what I've heard, it is a very good high and then a very bad low. So that second half kind of doesn't make me want to do them as much as the first half. So it's not ideal for that. So I'd prefer to not. Yeah, actually, I'll just leave it at that. I'd prefer to not. So we've had I've had an eventful life, but not in the the way that I would like. All the other things, all the kind of that's fair. I too have basic. I've unintentionally avoided most of those things. I had a bad trip when I was younger. That scared me to the point. I've heard a few stories like that, and to be honest, that's probably for the best. Because, like I said, I've heard it's a very slippery slope, and I have bad. I don't know where I was going with that. I was gonna make a joke, and my brain just stopped working. So the cat is back. The cat is back. So we have that, which is good. But yes, so as I was saying before, if we've got the tail, we do have the tail. And we've got a little bit of. Okay, what are you doing? She's just sitting directly in front of me. Let's see what happens if I do this. Can you see it? You can't see it through that one. Okay. Was hoping she might have been visible in that angle, but she was not. And that's a little bit annoying. And I just do this because my camera keeps resetting the exposure for some reason. Anytime I move out of the picture, the exposure changes, and it's really annoying. So my right contact was a pain in the butt to get in today, and it's being a pain in the butt about staying in place, which is super annoying. Want to hear about the fun story? I am intrigued. You've mentioned a couple of times that you're making a game. I am kind of intrigued as to what you're referring to. Like what kind of game is it? You've launched already. Cool. That is exciting. So I just gotta fix my settings a little bit. It's marbles. Nice. I do like some marbles. That sounds like a lot of fun, though. I can't say like I never got the hang of like coding. I've had some like IT and design study in the past, but I never really got onto the coding side of things. It was never my strong suit. Had 3,000 people join it. That's pretty good. 3,000 people is a decent amount of people to join in, so well done. But yeah, I tried coding. I couldn't. I didn't have the patience for it, which does not help. 500 people could not click the play button. Not because it didn't work, because they couldn't click it. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, that's not great for them, but hopefully you've been able to fix said issue. Because I imagine not being able to click the play button is a little bit of an issue, potentially. If I had to guess, it's probably not great. What is going on with my computer? Did test with 43 tests? Oh, fair enough. Sorry, I'm dropping things. Oh, good. It's working again. That's the main thing. That is the main thing. Okay, what? Okay. Okay, I'm not happy with the camera settings, but that'll have to do. Play button's working fine. Nice. Yeah. Like I said, it's probably not great that that people were unable to play the game. That kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. Sorry, I thought I'd try without the glasses for a second, and we'll see. It feels weird not having the glasses, but I feel like it's... Sorry, I've got like a hair in my eye. Okay. probably from the cat that is sitting directly underneath me. She likes to fluff up the fur. 300 people did not follow the tutorial and could not fit. Well, that probably doesn't help, but that sounds more like a them issue. I mean, given that that is the point of a tutorial, so yeah, you would hope so. Oh, I just remembered there was another little, not necessarily a story per se, but just regarding my recent little trip. I think I've mentioned it somewhere. I don't remember specifically where, but on the way back from my concert in the city, I caught a relatively early morning train, and it was like 7:30 in the morning, something like that. I'd been running on about 3 hours of sleep, and the only thing I had eaten in the last 8 hours was like a Rice Krispie treat, and somehow I was the only person on that train that apparently did not fall asleep, despite me running on very little sleep and very little food. I didn't have energy drinks until afterwards. Trains are nice to sleep. Apparently, everyone else was doing it, just not me. No, I crashed out later in the day, but I think it's also, there's a part of my brain that does not. I don't trust people. I had my bag, so I'm just like, I don't know if I trust people enough to completely let my guard down. Oh, excuse me. That is aforementioned sleep catching up with me. Unless they're Bulgarian trains, they literally fling you constantly. That's not great. I know that there were like luckily the train that I was on it wasn't the newest train, but it was also slightly, it wasn't one of the older trains I've been on either. So, that definitely helped, because I have been on some rickety trains. Including one train when I was it was a midnight train basically, and I was traveling from the city to my location, and that train, it was not great. It was very much like what you just described then. It was very loud, it was very rickety, it was kind of shaking around a lot more than it probably should have been. But I was the only, well, as far as I can tell, I was one of the few people actually on the train. So that probably was why they did not give us the top train for that one. So, I mean, I get it, but it still would have been nice to not get the shit train. Because apparently, from the sound of things, apparently that was like one of the last journeys for that train, and they were kind of phasing it out. And I was like, great, they couldn't have phased that out sooner. I was not super thrilled with that. So I'm just, there we go. But yeah, I was not super thrilled that I got one of the last runs on that particular train. But given my trip on that train, I am very much understanding why they replaced that train, because it was not good. Yesterday's train was considerably more comfortable. Let's have a look. What is this? Let's have a look. Oh, right, okay. I'm seeing a lot of images, most of which do not look to be in the newest of conditions. That's I can definitely see things being thrown around a lot in most of these. Right. I don't think they were quite that bad. Uh, because there was like, especially just kind of going to this one. I was just like, what the hell is going on with this one? Because that is, surely that one's still not still in use. That's probably not a great thing. That's the one. Great. Right. Okay. No, mine was not quite that bad. It's still in use. Awesome. I'm sorry to hear that. All of them are like that. Wow, that is not great. Let me just. Sorry, my settings are bugging me, and every time I change screens, it mucks with my settings, and it's not right. The adventure is fun. I can definitely see why that would be an adventure. I don't know if that was necessarily an adventure I would want to do. Because, yeah. It's only lucky as it is that I don't particularly get, like, car sick or train sick from that. But I imagine even that would probably test my limits to some degree. Because that is not great. And yeah, they've been doing a lot of upgrades recently to the Australian train system. And at least the one that goes to where I live has recently been upgraded, which is very handy for me because it means that I don't have to travel on something that feels like it was going to fall apart at the slightest notice. Not been watched in 50 years. Based on that photo that I just saw, I would believe that. Oh, about the seats. Oh, okay. That's a bit gross. That's not great. I was visualizing that. I'm not gonna Google that, but I was just visualizing garbage container trains there. That's not great. But yes, it definitely sounds like every trip is an adventure. I feel like that would probably be their slogan, and not for a good reason. So, sorry, my cat just leaned on my mouse. I just had to make sure she did not accidentally press. She's in a bitey mood after she's had her snack, and now she's overexcited. Why are you doing that? You're not allowed to do that. I just gave you treats. You're being very rude, madam. Madam, that's not how we treat company. So I gave her treats, and now she's overexcited because I think there was like catnip in that one. So she's probably also tripping balls a little bit. The people yucky when you go to the forest don't really care, even if I've covered it. Yeah, I mean that's fair. You kind of expect that when you're out in the forest. I don't have a lot of forest. Actually, no, that's not true. I was gonna say I don't have much forest around here, but I do. There are mountains not far from where I live, and every now and then I just kind of get the feeling of, I need to go out and be in amongst some trees, and so I do. It's good fun. Every now and then, not often, because like I grew up around that, and so sometimes I'm just like, no, I need to be as far away from trees as possible. And then other times it's like, you know what? I have probably been inside too much. I probably need to touch some grass, literally speaking. So yeah, it's one of those ones that when you're out and about, you kind of expect to get a little bit dirty. So I'm still undecided on whether I go glasses free or not with the contacts. But yeah, no, you have mentioned the like doing rock stuff, which is pretty cool. I've seen some of the photos in Crow Alternatives Discord. Looks like a lot of fun. I used to be like I do like some rocks, but it's very specific. In that, as I am a shiny rock autistic. So it's I don't think I have any in this room. I think my shiny rocks live in another part of the in another part of the house. Darn dyslexia, that's fair enough. I consider myself very lucky that I have not had to deal with that. So that's all right. I as soon as I saw that combination of letters, I knew it was Glenn. So you're all good. But yeah, it's like I like rocks, but I'm also too lazy to go and like collect them or like dig for them. I guess is the other way to put it, because it's they're a lot of fun. Collecting rock, yeah. Like I do like rocks, but it's just I have to vibe with it if I want to keep it in my collection. Because if I don't like the vibe of my rock, then what's it doing for me? So just like to search for them, fair enough. As long as you're having fun, that's the main thing. Most of my outdoor time is more just for like, I don't know. I do it for the view, because like I said, I go up into the mountains, and there's a lot of cool sightseeing locations for like a lot of cliff edges and that sort of thing. Walk around and then you go, rock, yes. I've definitely done that a few times. Can't say I've done much with sniffing it, but I have definitely gone rock. And for me, it's more about the feel of the rock as opposed to the other senses. So, like, if I like how the rock feels, I have heard people doing the lick test. I've never done that myself, but I have heard of some people doing of like. So it's not an uncommon thing, but I've never done it myself. But it's rocks are pretty cool. Like I said, I got the shiny rock autism, in that I will collect them, but I won't necessarily get them myself. Most of the time it tastes like rock. Funnily enough, I imagine a lot of them do. As long as you're not licking uranium, I can't imagine that's super good to lick. Unless you like don't really want that tongue anymore. Not again, no. No, that's all right. I say, I have no intention of licking any sort of rock, radioactive or otherwise. Found something. Oh, that's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of like, I think it's like uranium based jewelry and like things that are made out of like the uranium rocks, and like they're still like they glow in the dark basically, and I'm just like, that's probably like people are making them into like plates and mugs, and I'm just like, is that even safe? I was like, sure, it looks cool to have glow in the dark eating utensils, but it is safe. Okay. I don't know, for some reason when I was just like, when I see glow in the dark, I just kind of think that's probably not great to put in your body. But to each their own, I suppose. Like I said, I've not done that myself. But it glows under UV. Okay, well, that makes sense. But still, I'm just like, it's the wrong kind of shiny, I guess is one way to put it. So I will leave that to other people who would like UV glowing plates. Lots of rocks go under UV. Interesting. I didn't realize it was as common as you're making it sound. Interesting. I have not done that. So my phone is just bugging me. Oh, okay. I can see that. That makes sense. So my cat is just moving my mouse a lot. So I'm going to just move that out of the way so that we don't accidentally have things being clicked that should not be clicked. She's sitting directly in front of my stream deck, so that's not helping. She's cute, but she is definitely in the way a lot of the time. So what can you do? It's her desk now. Haven't been able to go for rocks in a while. That's no good. Well, hopefully you can go again. Because it sounds like you have a lot of fun doing that. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do next as like my next thing. And because I mentioned earlier, you may or may not have been in at this point. So I have something of a dissociative system. And so like, multiple personalities and so on. And one of them went dormant earlier this year, and I've been trying to get it out of dormancy because it's the part of my brain that allows me to feel joy and happiness, and having that being dormant is not great. And so that's another reason why I went to the concert, because I was like, so last time I got it out of dormancy, it was because I was doing something spontaneous and fun. So I was trying to do something spontaneous and fun to see if that brought things out again. Unfortunately, it didn't. So now I am looking for the next fun thing to hopefully spark that one back out of dormancy again. Because not being able to feel happiness and joy, like, it's not unhappiness. I have had to explain that to my therapist. It's not that I'm unhappy. It's just that I am lacking in happiness. So it's just more like apathy more than anything else. And that's not great. So if I could figure out a way to get part of my brain that is capable of feeling joy and happiness to come back out of dormancy again, that'd be great. So you can just comfortable yourself to do things you want to do. Oh no, I do that. I do that anyway. It's because how do I, because of the way that my dissociative brain works, it's like compartmentalized a lot of different aspects of my brain into essentially different alters within the system, and this particular one was basically the only part that was capable of feeling joy. And then I had a little PTSD episode earlier this year, and then ever since then that one's gone dormant, which is not helpful because I liked that part. And that's, as I was saying earlier, it's a weird thing. Like, I'm still capable of feeling like excitement and hope to an extent, but being able to feel excitement but without happiness attached to it, it's a weird combination. It got suppressed. Yeah, so the PTSD basically forced that part to go dormant and suppressed it. So Unfortunately, I've ever since then been trying to figure out a way to try and get it to come back, but unfortunately forcing it doesn't help. So I'm still here. Like I said, it's not that I'm like unhappy. It's just lacking in happiness. It's a fine line in that distinction. But yes, it's my brain is funny in its own way. Not always good ways, but it's funny nonetheless. And but yeah, so we've so that was another reason why I went to the concert. It was definitely a fun night. It was a 10 out of 10 concert. It unfortunately did not re-spark what I was hoping to re-spark, but I do not regret going to that concert because it was a lot of fun. And I would do it again if it was not for the fact that that particular group seemed to average like one Australian tour every 3 to 5 years. So I'm probably not going to see them again for a while. So I'll just need to keep an eye out and see if any other people that I like are doing anything in the near future. Who knows? Maybe, well, yeah. Don't have to let new stocks. Well, that's what yeah. That's kind of what I meant by like not forcing it. I'm hoping to just kind of get something to happen again, because it took me a long time to get it to come back last time. So I'm trying not to rush. I'm both rushing things and trying not to rush things at the same time, because like I said, it took a long time to get that to come back. The last time it went dormant. So I'm just trying not to push it and hoping for the best. That is all I can really do at the moment. And yeah, try rock hunting. It's not a bad idea. I probably could do that. I wouldn't know where to start in my area, but I could definitely there could definitely be something to look into. I do like the no people aspect of it. Because that is that's the thing. I like people, but in very small doses. So I'm opening my can of soft drink, but these nails are not great at opening cans, so I just had to find something to get in under there. Australia, correct. Yes, I am in the state of New South Wales. But yeah, I feel like I did a lot of that when I was younger, because I lived in a very kind of mountainous area when I was younger, and there wasn't a lot else to do because the internet was not really a thing much at that point. So nature stuff was kind of the main thing you could do in at that point. And then the internet came out and I was overjoyed, and they did not see me again. I mean, I say the internet came out. The internet had been around for a while, but it was only just coming to the area in which I lived. And we had dial-up. And it takes a long time to do basically anything on dial-up. I couldn't do this on dial-up. It would take me like half an hour to download a 30-second video. I do not miss those days. I was gonna say something. I might. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to say that. Also, because I didn't really have a fully formed thought on that one, so it was going to be just like gibberish. But it was relating to the whole lack of internet stuff. I miss my old internet games. Like I'm curious as to if it's still a site now. Um, what's it called? If it's still a site, I am absolutely going to play on that site after stream. But this site was a site that I was playing in like 2005. So if it's still functioning, I would be very surprised. Oh, what the hell? What is this? What am I looking at here? No, go away. So I was looking at the game, the site is called addictinggames.com. Again, I was doing this a lot in 2005. It looks very different now. And so I do not actually I also it doesn't like that I have so I'm using Opera GX, which and not just because of the fact that it has a built-in ad blocker. And sites like this one don't love the fact that there are ad blockers. Which part of Australia was it? I was in New South Wales. I can't really narrow down too much more than that. But yeah, New South Wales, Western New South Wales, I guess. It's still definitely New South Wales, but it's not like, yeah. I do not recognize Bloons TD4. So I may have added Bloons TD6 to my Steam library. I've been meaning. I'm actually surprised I didn't have it in there already. It kind of seems like a game that I would get addicted to very quickly, and that is probably actually part of the reason why I don't have it. It's a lot of yeah. No, I'm not surprised that there is a lot of digging sites in there, because yeah, like I said, I lived in, I guess, what could be described as country New South Wales, and when I was living at that point, the internet was not a big thing, and so we had to entertain ourselves in other ways, and I had no interest in farming, so nature walks were my next best thing. Just doing a nature walk with a book. It's great fun. I'm pretty sure I was reading through Lord of the Rings a lot. I don't know how many times I think I read Lord of the Rings through like at least once a year at that point. Top midpoint has 976 different. That is a lot of points. But I'm not surprised that there was a lot of places around where I lived that sold, like that they sold rocks to tourists and like jewelry to tourists using the rocks from the area. So I would 100% believe that there is places that there is that many specimens to be found. So I would 100% believe that. And yeah, so I've oh, what's it doing? Go away. So surprisingly, the games themselves do not actually look that much different from when I was playing it in my youth. Again, this was 2005. So the fact that these Flash games are still going is a pleasant surprise. Torrington State Forest has a ton I want to go to. That's fair. It sounds like that'd be one of those ones that you would have a lot of fun in. I need to get back on that one. There we go. But yes, there's I did like I did a lot of nature walks when I was a kid because there wasn't a lot else to do. It was nature walks and reading, and then I discovered the internet, and my parents' computer was never the same. Luckily, I was always a fairly tech-savvy child, so I was able to look at things on that computer without them knowing. Because I was a lot more tech-savvy than they were. And I knew how to... And, like, I know that people are like, oh, your parents knew, and I'm just like, they might know, but they weren't going to be able to find shit in that computer. Like, the layers that I was doing stuff. Like the techniques I was using to enjoy the internet, so to speak, they were not getting past that in those days. And that is all I'm going to mention on that, because I don't know how many of them watch my streams or my VODs. It's unlikely, but the chances are not zero. Emeralds. I do like myself some emeralds. I feel like I like the rocks, but it's like I don't. As you can see, Crow Alternative. Welcome into the Crow Raid. We've been talking geology and ways of hiding things from the internet and your parents when you were when the internet was young. So welcome in. Yes, Pixie, I'm glad you noticed that. So I was I was saying earlier in this stream, it's kind of funny. Thank Pixie. Oh, well, thank you for joining in on the stream. Thank you for the raid. Yes, it's kind of funny. Like, I'm not actively at I'm not an affiliate yet, but somehow I've managed to cross the line to unlock some VIPs. I'm pretty sure that's not the order you're meant to be able to do that in, but apparently I did. So I may have assigned a couple of people already as VIPs. And so thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sneezy. But yes, it was Twitch doesn't need to know. Yeah. Yeah, so it's I found that out between this stream and my last stream, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure when I unlocked that. I'm not sure how I unlocked that. I'm actually pretty sure it was having something to do with these raids. I'm not going to complain about the raids. I'm very grateful for the raids, and apparently that allowed me to assign a couple of VIPs. So yes, there are a couple of people who do have raids are here for a reason. Exactly. Must pass out. No, thank you for joining in on the raid nonetheless, Zydrate. Thanks for dropping by. I appreciate that. I'm gonna cook and be back soon. That's all right. I'll see you when you're back, Crow. Thank you for the raid, by the way. I don't know if you heard that earlier. But yes, so amongst other things earlier, we were talking a little bit of geology, where we were also talking about back when the internet was young and the methods that were used to hide things from parents in those days. I won't go into too much detail on that one, just in case they happen to be watching. But there was a lot of stuff that I downloaded on the family computer that they did not know. Have a clip you got after Korea, can you share if you like? Depends what it is, but we'll see. But after it, okay, I'm gonna save that one for later. Because that sounds like something that I want to watch, because that sounds pretty funny. What era were we talking about? Well, this was probably like early when would it have been? It would have been probably about 2005, give or take. So my computer didn't want to let me copy that, so I'm just gonna have to open that and I'll watch that later. Well, that's the thing. Like I was a very paranoid child. So I had the homework folder, and then I had several hidden folders within those folders, and then I had like layers upon layers. They were not finding those videos. They may have known I was looking at things, but they were never going to find it. I made damn sure of it. It's in the clip channel as well. Cool. That's all right. Well, I've got the clip saved, so I will be looking at that one later, because that sounds pretty funny. But yes, that was 2005. I'm older than I look, but it was back in the dial-up days, and so the kind of day where the kind of internet connection where it would take you about an hour or two to download a 30 to 1 minute long, a 30-second to 1 minute long clip. And so I had to make sure that there was no family in the house whilst I was doing that. The dial-up noises. Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure that one of the things that I have planned. I'm sorry, no, I'm not the 22-year-old that I claimed to be. That's right. But it's yeah, one of the things I have planned when I can unlock it is the sound alerts, and one of those noises will probably be the dial-up noise. I don't know why I want that on there on my sound alerts, but it's gonna be on there somewhere. But yeah, the dial-up noises are definitely, it's I want to say nostalgic, but it's also not. It's also takes you back to the day, because those were also the days that if you didn't, if someone happened to call on the same phone line that you were using, it would disconnect you from the internet. And you couldn't answer the phone because you were currently using it for the internet, but it would be enough to disturb the connection nonetheless. And it's really annoying, because then you have to disconnect your phone, disconnect your computer, check the phone, reconnect the computer, and get back on the internet and spend the next 2 to 5 minutes connecting via your dial-up connection. Lucky days. And it's not, the only thing I'm nostalgic for from those days is Neopets, because I was actually just talking about that just before the raid as well. Get off phone, I'm trying to watch a video. Exactly. Internet destroys the phone, phone destroys the internet. Yeah, pretty much. It was not super fun when that happened. Luckily, like I said, I did a lot of Neopets, which like it was mostly a website based thing. So I would still have to reconnect, but it's not like I was being completely disabled from the connection. But I old school Neopets I kind of miss, and I kind of had forgotten about it for quite a while. And nostalgia about Freddo Costu. Yeah, actually, now they mention it, it's because again, if I'm going back to those similar days of about 2005, it was a lot cheaper for that, even with like inflation. Don't forget Toontown. It sounds familiar. I don't know if that was I don't know if I was engaged with that one as much. Pirates of the Caribbean Online. Interesting. I have not played that one. But it was about 15p in 2005. That sounds about right. I was trying to pull from whatever memory I could with regards to that, because I feel like in Australia, at least, it would have been about 50 cents, which is probably not too far off from 15p, I think, give or take. But we also had, so we had the Freddos, but I think I might also be thinking we had I don't know if this probably an Australian thing given the name. We also had caramello koalas, which is basically a Freddo filled with caramel. We still sell them, but much like Freddos, they also got that goddamn inflation. And but they were really nice. Oh, you did have caramel ones. Good. So you have an idea of what I'm talking about. That is good to know. But yes, there were good things and bad things about those times. Like, I definitely prefer my internet connection now, even if it's occasionally a bit shit. It's you take it for granted nowadays that, like, but I could never do this in 2005. You would be watching me in like 5 pixels, and that is about it. Yeah, it's I will have to acknowledge that in regards to things like Freddos and dial-up connections, physically I am probably pretty unk. Luckily, courtesy of PTSD and amnesia, I'm missing most of the memories from those days, so I don't actually know how old I am mentally on any given day. So mentally I'm not unk, but physically I may be. Last paid for a Freddo was £1. That sounds about right now. I don't know how much they're going for at the moment in my local shops. I'm gonna have a look now, because you've got me curious, because I don't know how much the local Freddos cost for me. Now, children, no fighting in chat. And I can say that because technically I am probably older than most of you. Or all of you. I don't know. I was surprised one day. I thought I would be the oldest person in chat, and I wasn't. It's a pleasant surprise. Freddos. Give me them Freddos. How much are they going for? It's also coming up to Easter, so basically everything chocolate is more expensive right now as well. Freddos are really just the right amount of chocolate to give me. Yeah, I get that. Actually, I've like, sometimes a bar of chocolate is just too much chocolate, but Freddos is like, it's a good mouthful. So apparently, yeah, Freddo is about $2 here, which would be about £1, give or take. So yeah, no, it's I like my chocolate, but I can't really buy much of it at the moment due to the fact that it is just stupidly expensive. So it costs like the equivalent of, like, I don't know, £3 for just a generic Cadbury Easter egg, and I'm just like, I didn't want to seem old, but even when I saw that in the shops, I was like, that is too much for an egg that size. Now they're just being greedy. They treat me like I'm Ralph Wiggum in Crows and Ravens prize. Well, that's, yeah, like I said, physically and mentally, my ages are very different. So I don't really know how that works for me. Now I'm just gonna do a quick thing, because I did get a new follow, and I am over 50 follows, and I do have a thing at the moment with my follower goals. Is that over 50 follows, I do the beans. It's the same beans that would be found in Pixie's stream, and I believe there's probably a few other places as well, but I use them as a follower goal, and I got a new follow from Sneezy Whisper, and so now I need a jelly bean. Whether it's a good one or a bad one, I am about to find out. Apparently, my options for this one is strawberry smoothie, or dead fish. Who up boozling their bean? Well, maybe after stream. You guys can do it as much as you want. It's just, you know, I got a stream, and apparently TOS frowns upon that. So What color is that even? I think it's this one. I'm really hoping that it's the strawberry smoothie and not the dead fish, because I got the barf flavored one last time and it tasted like regurgitated pizza. It's not fun. Granted, my worst one so far has been burnt rubber because it literally tastes like burnt rubber. It was not... Clancy needs to get real. He does. Needs to get his priorities in order. All right. What do I got? It's not strawberry smoothie. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it tastes like dead fish, but it definitely has like a fishy aftertaste to it. Okay, that is not as bad as I was expecting it to be. It just kind of tastes like I ate some tuna, which is not the worst thing. It's definitely not up there with the burnt rubber. The burnt rubber will forever be bad. Human being, thank you also for the follow. Have you followed before, or is this a new follow? I'm just gonna... Can I do this for new follows? I'm gonna be like, isn't all fish we eat dead? Well, I suppose that's true. I hope we're eating dead fish. But thank you for the follow, human being. I don't know if it's a new follow or if it's a refreshed follow, but thank you for the follow. Even if I have a feeling you may just be doing it to make me eat a bean. Weren't following before? That's okay then. Then we eat the bean. Sorry, I lose track of who's follow. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's all right. No, it's just my follow account was just being weirdly delayed. I got the notification of the follow, but not an update to the follow one. So I was like, that's weird. So, oh, this one is grab me a second account follow. Maybe don't tell Twitch that, because then everyone might get banned, and then I lose everybody. I know they frown upon alt accounts. Alrighty, so I've got a fun one here because there's not a winning flavor for me in this particular one, because it is the cappuccino or liver and onions one, and I don't like liver and onions, and I can't stand the taste of coffee. So, well done, human being. We got one that may just be bad. I only have one. Yeah, no, with Twitch at least, I've only got one account. I'm too lazy to maintain more than one. I'm really hoping that was the one that I needed to grab. I'm pretty sure it was. Okay. Well, like I said, there wasn't really a good flavor for this one, but I got the coffee, the cappuccino one. It tastes kind of like coffee flavored ice cream, if that makes sense. So not like cappuccino. I'm very brave, thank you. I'm expecting my medal any day now, but it's yeah. Okay. I could always re-roll. No, but then I'd have to eat it eventually. And now I know what the cappuccino one tastes like, so it's not great. I mean, it tastes like coffee, which is kind of makes sense given that it's cappuccino. But as someone who does not like coffee at all, caffeine is fine, just for clarification. But coffee, I think I have drunk a grand total of 1 cup of coffee in my entire life. And I only did that because I was being polite, because I was staying at a hotel. And the maitre d' of the hotel brought cappuccinos to the table, because it was the hotel breakfast, and they brought a cappuccino to the table before we even asked if we wanted coffee. And I didn't want to be rude because he was a very nice man, and I didn't want to be like, take it back, because like we got it for free, and he gave us the coffee, and I took a sip, and then I scoffed down whatever food I could fit into my mouth, and then I would take a sip, and I would scoff everything in there that I could get my hands on to try and dissolve some of the flavor a little bit. So I got about like half of a cup through, and I was like, that's probably enough of an effort. I don't need any more coffee. Not a big one for coffee either. Yeah, that's fair. Like I'm good with caffeine, not so much with coffee. And but yes, it was not a fun experience. Excuse me. It was back in my people pleaser days, as you could probably tell, based on the fact that I forced myself to drink something that was utterly vile to me. And not helped by the fact that a lot of the stuff that I was eating was like hotel pastries and that sort of thing, which I realized later in life, now that I have like got a severe gluten allergy, I probably shouldn't have been having that either. So it was kind of a no-win situation there. I either had the coffee, which tasted disgusting, or I had the hotel pastries and toast that made me feel like I needed to throw up. And it's only recently that I realized, oh yeah, those two things are connected. I was like, that's probably why I've never enjoyed hotel breakfasts. Because half of the stuff that was in there was destroying my stomach. Fun times. So I don't like coffee, but sometimes I have to brave through them. Yeah, I mean, if I absolutely have to, but like I said, I drink the absolute minimum that I can get away with for it to not seem impolite. But that, like I said, I haven't done that. Was a few years ago. So I'm luckily I've not needed to. Nowadays it's just kind of like if someone asks for coffee, I'm just like, no, I'm good. So I was with one of my partners, like our relationship lasted for 10 years. She was constantly trying to get me to drink coffee. That hotel coffee was probably the closest I got during that time to having a coffee. And she was at me the whole time to drink coffee. I'd make her a coffee, that's fine. I couldn't stand the smell, but she liked coffee, so I made her coffee. I would not touch the stuff. I was good with tea or hot chocolate or energy drinks. And they all worked for me. So when this 9-10 p.m. World Cup schedule, I'll drink whatever. See, that's the thing, like, I have this energy drink, but I'm basically drinking it ironically because this does nothing to me. Like, I could drink this and be in bed half an hour later. Post-effective meds kicked in, go head to bed. Fair enough, Sven. You've had a hell of a night from what you've told me, so go to bed, get some rest, let the meds settle in, and hopefully the world stops spinning for like once you get into bed. And that's like, but yeah, so like with coffee itself, I will avoid it as much as I can, because like I'm an adult now and I know my boundaries with coffee now, so I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm currently upside down. Okay, those meds are having a hell of a night with you, aren't they? So what would happen if okay, so act like everything's normal, people. Just act like everything's normal. Does this help, Sven? Does this make it better or worse? Apparently Sven had some adrenaline-based medication earlier, and it's having a great time with it. But it's But yeah, so that was oh, I just lost my train of thought, but it was a fun train of thought. Oh, it's the thing used to counter the sleepy ones. Oh, okay, right. But yeah, so it's a so as many of you who have just joined in from Crow's stream may be aware, I touched grass over the weekend. It was great fun. No, I'm pretty sure taking uppers and downers at the same time is generally not recommended, because it does tend to fuck you up a little bit, from what I've been told. As someone who's never taken uppers or downers, I can't necessarily say, but from what I've been told, apparently taking them both at the same time does tend to mess up the system a little bit. Hi, Zachary, welcome to the show. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Takes a screenshot of your brain. Yeah, basically what I've heard. I've not kind of the closest I've had to that is mixing like energy drinks and alcohol, which is, it's not quite the same level, but it's also not super fun. But yes, as some of you are probably aware, I went on a little trip to a concert over the weekend. Some of you may also have noticed, especially from that last little transition I just did then, I got some new contacts. I'm enjoying them thoroughly. I only know the mixing Jaeger and Red Bull thing. I haven't tried that specific one, but I do know that that is one of the more common ones. Why do humans have 10 fingers? Because 11 would get in the way, I would imagine. I just. Why did you just make me count my fingers? Jeez. I was just like, I knew I have 10 fingers. Why did I just count them? Okay. Had me doubting how many fingers I had just then. But yes, so I got some new contacts because I wanted to try something different for the concert. So it's good fun. This one was being a bitch to put in this evening. That's why my stream started a little bit later than usual. It took me like 10 minutes to get that side in. Got that one in like first go, but this one was just like, it just kept popping out. And it was just not fun. But it did the job because I bought them to make my outfit pop at the concert, and it was good fun. It got a few looks. Because it's a little bit, well, bigger than the average person's eye. Because these are technically mini scleras. They are similar, for example, to the ones that streamer Raven Alternative uses. However, these ones are not prescription. I probably could have gotten prescription, but realistically, the prescription that I need is so minor. It would just be an unnecessary cost for very little benefit. It's so cool. Thank you. I like them. They're reusable ones as well. So these ones are technically monthlies. So I can wear them for a while. Hopefully without too much issue. Once I'm so bad that I know I'll learn to hate myself without them. See, it's funny that you mentioned that, Pixie, because when I was, when I got back from the concert and when I was like taking everything off, like I was so used to having seen, like I'd only been wearing them for like a few hours, but I got so used to seeing myself with the contacts in that when I took the contacts out at the end of the night, I was just like, I was looking at my eyes and it was like, it looked weird with like just my regular eyes. And it was disconcerting. I was like, I know these are my normal eyes, but I'm so used to having the big eyes that having like my normal eyes was just like looked off-putting. And so yeah, I get what you're saying about that. It was just like I like looking at them. I can't necessarily wear them like super long term because like this side especially gets a little bit irritated for some reason. But it's What tattoo am I funding? Well, my plan is eventually I want to kind of do, there's like a sleeve that my plan is eventually for it to go from like my elbow up to like my neck, but that's gonna be a while to save up for that one. But it's kind of my plan, at least. See if I can find some references. So the inspiration for it, I guess, is probably similar to this. So it's Japanese marbling techniques. So something along the lines of that. But I'm kind of thinking if I can get that, but in a like slightly more, I guess, anime style. So like that, like shadow tendril style kind of thing combined with that. And I kind of want to get that from like there up to there, basically. A little bit onto the chest, but mostly up there. But that would be expensive and time consuming. So I also need to stop doing impulse purchases, which does not help me. I'm looking at some of these reference tattoos, kind of wants me to, well, I want to get them even more now. But yeah, like I've kind of wanted one of those for a couple of years, but then I did my little impromptu trip to London, and so the money that I had been then saving up for the tattoo went to London, and I loved my trip to London. It was a lot of fun, but now I have to build that back up again. So planning X, Y, and have a tattoo booked. Yeah, it's a bit that way. As many of you have probably established, I have issues with impulse purchasing. That does not help with the saving of money for tattoos, as also noted by the fact that, as I just said, I literally just went to a concert night before last. Although that, in my defense, this was a group who is like comes to Australia once every like 5 years, and the timing just happens to line up that I was in the mood to go to a concert, and I was like, hey, they're going to be in the country, and I like listening to their stuff now. So that was one of those ones. Everyone that I mentioned it to, I was like, I've just spent money on London. I've got issues with impulse purchasing. I kind of want to do this now. And basically everyone that I was talking to, including my therapist, was just like, no, you should do it. I was telling my therapist, because I was like, I would have expected of anyone who was going to have, if anyone was going to try and talk me out of it, I would have figured it'd be the person who knows the most about like everything that I do. And even then they were just like, no, you should do it. It seems like fun. You know what you're doing. And I was like, I do. I appreciate the trust, but I was expecting a little bit more resistance, and now I don't know what to do with that. So I went to the concert. Cal speak and so how it's trapped in the stream chat. I'm sorry to hear that, Sven. I've definitely had one. Well, not necessarily that. I've definitely lost the ability to speak before in the past. It's a weird feeling. Because it's like, especially when it's like a psychosomatic thing, because like I could physically, like I could still talk, but my brain basically severed the connection between the talking part of my brain and the doing part of my brain. So my brain was talking just plenty, and not a single verb of that was making its way to my mouth. How do I fix this? I'm sorry, Sven. It's a little bit out of my league there. I do not know how to help you with that. Hopefully, it'll just settle down. I can't say I've been in that specific situation. But hopefully it fixes and you can untrap yourself from the stream and get some rest, hopefully. And hopefully that will help. But yes, so I went to this concert. As I mentioned when I was talking about the contacts, it was a lot of fun. It was like the demographic was like 85% women, which was I found really funny, and I was not surprised by that demographic at all, but it was really funny. And so because of that, and the fact that I was watching a K-pop boy band, I was partially deaf for a lot of the evening, and luckily it's come back now, but I was partially deaf, so there was a lot of screaming on that night. Gotta head to bed. Hope you have a fab night. Thank you, Pixie. Thanks for dropping in with the raid. I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Get some rest, get some sleep. I will be here for a little bit. I don't know how long. I didn't really have a plan for this stream other than talking. But also congratulations on the VIP. You were one of the first. There is a couple of people I've got them, but I'm not telling them. If they just happen to pop into stream, they will just have a pleasant surprise, as you did. Gonna head to bed before stuff gets weird. That's probably a good idea, Sven. Hopefully things will settle down for you a little bit. And you'll feel a bit better after some rest. And yes, as I was saying before, I found it very fun. I think I mentioned it on Crow's stream the other day. I caught an early train back home yesterday after aforementioned concert, and despite the fact that I was running on about 3 hours sleep and the only food I had eaten in the last 12 hours was some Rice Krispie treats, I was apparently the only person not sleeping on that train on the way home. And I was just like, how am I the only person not sleeping when I have not slept? I need sleep. Why am I not sleeping right now? And I was just kind of looking to my side, and like basically every second person was just like laying down on their chair, just like completely fast asleep. And I was low-key a little bit annoyed because I was like, I would love to go to sleep right now, but I can't for some reason. I hadn't even had an energy drink at that point. Maybe I should have done. Maybe I should have had an energy. Actually, I should have had an energy drink earlier in my thing, because maybe that would have knocked me out. Because I've got the fun kind of neurodivergence where caffeine just makes me sleepy as opposed to doing anything to keep me awake. So maybe I should have just had some energy drinks before my before my train journey so that I could have actually slept. Although that doesn't help due to the fact that I don't trust people and I was traveling alone. So I had my bag and I don't trust people. It's not a great combination for sleepiness, because I'm always paranoid, even if I have no reason to be. So, because like I'm on a train, what is someone gonna do with my bag? They can't go anywhere with it, because that'd be one waste of a heist in that case, because there is nothing of value in my bag. There was dirty clothes and some prescription medication that is useless to anyone but me. So if someone were to have stolen my bag, I would have lost some stuff, but they would not have gained any stuff. They can sell my estrogen on the black market. The estrogen, which costs me all of like $20 for like a month's supply. I'm sure they'll get great value on the black market with that. Majesty falls out. Well, if they need the medication as well, then that's that's lucky for them. Luckily, I also have spares of that particular medication, so I would have been annoyed, but not necessarily put out. But that was probably the only thing of value in my bag, because I would have normally taken my camera with me for something like, a concert, because that seems like the sort of thing. I want to get into vlogging, but realistically, I don't do enough to make vlogging a useful premise. Like, let me put it this way. I was at MCM London last October. Funnily enough, the same one that Raven Alternative has just posted a video about now. I have many hours of footage of that, and I have done nothing with it. because I honestly don't know if people would want to watch that, because it's mostly a video diary more so than a vlog. So it's like, I want to vlog stuff, but I don't do enough stuff to warrant it, because I work full time and that doesn't allow me a lot of time or energy to do other things. That is one of the reasons why I have a DSLR camera. That, and I like photos. I like doing photography as well. I don't get a lot of time to do that either, but I like doing photos and it's a lot of fun. Oh, excuse me, that one kind of reverberated. And I will potentially, like, that particular camera could work as a stream camera, and but I haven't got the connections working for that yet. So you're stuck with my little Logitech, as well as this little Logitech. Hi. I originally got that one as like a puzzle hand cam. What is going on with... Every time I change my camera, for some reason it resets one of the settings, and it's really annoying because I hate that it does that, because it shouldn't, but it does. So now we are back to smooth quality. Even if not for vlogs, still can be good for memory of the times you had. Yeah, so like that. So yes, that's what I was talking about. So I got the camera, and so like MCM, I have all of this footage because my memory is garbage and I needed some sort of physical proof that I did it because I have no guarantee that that memory was going to stay in here longer than it would take me to get back home. And so I did that. And so I would have taken that for this concert as well, except they have very specific rules at the venue that phones are allowed, which is good because basically everyone was recording on their phone. But DSLR cameras and anything above that is basically only for licensed event photographers, which I am not. So basically the only thing I would have been able to record was my train ride down and my walk to the arena. Actually, no, I couldn't have even done that because I wouldn't have been able to take the camera in with me. So you would have gotten a vlog of me walking to the train, getting the train to the arena, and then getting the train back and so on. Or actually, no, you would have gotten some post talk. But to be fair, I did post that on my Instagram. So we did cover a little bit of that because part of the reason was for going for the concert was, one, it seemed like fun, and it was. I definitely don't regret that. But there's a part of my brain that stopped feeling joy and happiness several months ago due to a PTSD event, and I was kind of hoping that doing something fun and semi-spontaneous might reawaken that after the fact. It didn't, but I was like, points for effort, essentially. Sounds reasonable. Concert and other events usually have hired photographers. Yeah, that's like, I get why they did it. It's just, I would also have liked to have used my camera because my DSLR camera is a slightly better quality than my phone. Although my phone took surprisingly good pictures and video, so I'm not complaining about that. But I would have loved to have been able to bring in my camera for that. But yeah, I get why they have the rules in place because, yeah, but like, you know, prepared photography is probably a more valid concern than just a random person like me. So I get why they did it. I'm just annoyed. But that's why I looked it up specifically beforehand because I tend to over prepare in regards to anywhere I go because I need to make sure that I'm not going to get in trouble for anything that I happen to have on hand. And luckily, well, I didn't get in trouble, but they did have, because they had metal detectors at the door, and I have a lot of crap in my pockets at any given time. So I was like, I had the umbrella with me because it was kind of raining a little bit when I was walking down. So I had my umbrella, I had my water bottle, And then I had to, then they were like, okay, do you have anything in your pockets? I was like, yeah, but my hands are a little full right now. And they were like, okay. So I grabbed my wallet out. I also happened to have some lip gloss in that same pocket, which came flying out when I got the wallet out. And because that basically meant all of my hands were full now, and I was like, yeah, there's probably going to be some keys in that pocket. So they had to get the wand and go over with that. And it was... Luckily, they saw just how awkward I was being with all of the crap that I had to carry. And I was like, this is why it's in my pockets. That they were just like, he ran it over the pocket and he was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Off you go. If I had a camera, I wouldn't dare to take it with me in places like, because it costs a lot. Usually try to avoid taking headphones. So like my headphones, they stayed at the hotel. The camera, I would have been paranoid about as well, realistically. Just because it's a little bit of a unit. Like it's not like big, it's like your standard DSLR size, but it is a little bit of a unit, and I would be paranoid. I would paranoid walking around London. I'd be paranoid walking around Sydney. Especially given that on like my train ride down there was a guy walking back and forth in the train who was wearing a jacket with no shirt and socks with no shoes. So I was just like, I don't know what your deal is, sir, but I'm kind of glad I did not bring my camera with me for that one. And yeah. And oh, funny story as well. Like, this was pretty much always going to be a story stream, mostly about that. I may have witnessed a high-speed chase on my way back from the concert, which was a fun way to end the night. Granted, I still had a headache at that point, but I was walking back from the train to where my hotel was, and when I was doing that, I heard sirens, and so I looked to my left. There was a car following an SUV, like a police car following an SUV, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, the police car's got his sirens on. This SUV, they're turning. Okay, well, we'll see what the police are doing. Oh, they're also turning. Okay. Then a minute later, there was another car. And then a minute later, there was another car. And then there's like, I think in the end, there was about 5 or 6 police cars actively following this SUV. It was not a high-speed chase, because they were not going particularly quickly, but there was still a lot of officers in pursuit of this one random car. Also, thank you, Mayhem, for the follow. I appreciate that. And for those that have been paying attention, you know what that means. Now that we have another new follower, it's time for another bean. So, yes, so I spoke to a friend of mine who, after the fact, who happens to live not far from the area of where I was staying, and I was like, this sounds pretty on brand for what you've told me about this town. And she was like, yeah, no, that tracks. And I was like, great, what have I gotten myself into? So what flavor have I gotten myself into with this one? We have, what is this? Toasted marshmallow or stink bug? Okay, something just dropped. What flavor was this? Oh, that is pomegranate or old bandage. That's not the one I want. I want toasted marshmallow or stink bug. Neither of those sound great. So I just need to find which one it is, because there's 2 that look very familiar. The toasted marshmallow and the tutti frutti look very similar. I think it might be this one. This one looks slightly browner than the tutti frutti, so I'm going to assume it's this one. I'm hoping. Okay, I'll compare it to this other one just in case. Okay, they just smell like jelly bean. That doesn't help me. Okay, well, I'm gonna have this one, which may or may not be toasted marshmallow or stink bug. Oh, it's so hard to tell. Trying to compare the colors on this thing. Okay. Oh, what? I honestly don't actually know what that one was. It wasn't good. I think it might have been stink bug. It started as like toasted marshmallow. Um, was curious to know if you can tell what you're going to get by the smell of it. Not with those ones. Some of them they have more distinct flavors, like the cap. Actually, no. I think whatever they've got on the outer coating for it is kind of masks the smell a little bit. So they just kind of smell like. They just kind of smell like jelly bean. As soon as you bite into it, though, you just get that burst of flavor, and that's that's not great. But so, like, it started off with like a hint of toasted marshmallow. I was like, maybe this is over toasted marshmallow. But then it turned into a very different flavor. So I'm gonna say that was probably the stink bug. So congratulations, Mayhem. You've got the stink bug flavored jelly bean. I don't regret doing the Bean Boozled options as a challenge, but it's not a. There are some flavors that are better than others. It would ruin the fun if you could know before eating. Yeah, I guess that's probably part of why they do it like that, because it's like some of the flavors, they're okay. So far, the only good flavor I've had so far was the berry flavored one, because that one was actually quite good. To be fair, the bad option for that is toothpaste, which even still doesn't sound like terrible. But the rest of these other ones, like they've been, I think I've mostly gotten bad ones. I think I've gotten the berry and maybe a pomegranate. But everything else has been, I've had barf, I've had boogers, I've had barf, which tasted like regurgitated pizza. I've had boogers, which tasted like I was licking tree bark. The stink bug, which I had that, and the burnt rubber, which literally tastes like burnt rubber. I don't really have a different way to describe that. That's literally what it tasted like. It's like if someone held a lighter underneath it, like a rubber tire. That's what it smells like. That's what it tasted like, I should say. Means you get rid of the bad ones first to enjoy the good ones. Hopefully it works like that, and that I haven't just got a batch that is just like all bad ones. But yes, so far I've mostly got the less fun flavors. Which is why I remember very specifically who got the good flavor in that one, because that was Salem's Follow. Salem's Follow got the berry flavor, and that became especially more memorable due to the fact that of the several new followers I've had since the start of this challenge, there's only been like 2 good flavors. So, I mean, that's why we do the challenge, because hopefully it's entertaining for other people to watch me eating what in some cases tastes almost like garbage. By choice. I do this consensually. But it is good fun. I do it for the bit. And that is why I am here. But yes. So thank you for the follow, Mayhem. I hope you enjoy your time here. And thank you everyone who joined in for the raid as well, because this gets me one step closer to affiliate, hopefully. And then I can start doing redeems and such. As some of you may have noticed earlier, as I said, apparently I've unlocked the ability to give VIPs already, which was surprising given aforementioned lack of affiliate. So that was a fun little surprise I discovered a couple of days ago. I was like, what am I going to do with this? I don't know what I want to do with that yet, but it's that is a problem for later, because you know, I'm still a baby streamer. It was there was something we were talking about earlier actually, in that I was like, I have 20 VIP slots with my current setup, and someone said, oh, you could give it to all your you could give it to all your regulars and still have some left over, and I was like, I could, but then literally everybody in chat would be a VIP, and it's kind of like, to paraphrase Syndrome from The Incredibles, if everyone's VIP, then no one's VIP. So I want to figure out a system to make it like worth it, because like I only just discovered I had this. So stay tuned on that one, I suppose. But yes, so I did the concert. It was a lot of fun. I may have barked at a few of the the songs. In my defense, everyone was barking, so I was not out of place whilst doing so. So I do not feel quite so much like I was objectifying people by barking, because everybody was barking at that point. It was almost expected. It would have been rude not to bark. That is how I'm justifying it. And I will not change my stance on that fact. I definitely wooed a few times as well, but in my defense, they are very pretty men. Although, as one part that I did kind of find funny, for me at least, is that there is one member. I don't really remember all of the names yet. I'm still relatively new to the world of K-pop and ATEEZ. But there is a member in there. He has a very pretty face, but I say this in the most flattering way possible. He is shaped like a human Dorito. I'm just trying to see if I can find a picture that matches what I'm trying to demonstrate. I guess potentially this one. It's more pronounced in real life, but like I said, he's a very pretty man, but his torso is shaped like a triangle. And like I said, I mean that in the most flattering way possible. Maybe missing context. Sorry, what did we miss in context about? I've lost track. I've forgotten what I said more than 30 seconds ago. Oh, bark. Sorry, B-A-R-K. You know, like rough kind of thing. It's hard to follow when someone texts me. Oh, that's fair enough. To be fair, the words that I was using were not words that commonly come up in conversation. So, yeah. So it's like do I have my? I want to go to my Instagram, but for some reason it needs me to log in, and I don't really want to log in right now, because I don't remember my password more than anything else. And then I don't want to dox myself by having to send a reset password out whilst live on stream. So let's see. So I'll see if I can, because there was a video that I took of of one of the instances of well, I don't think I was barking at that particular point, but there was barking involved. Okay, now. Okay, well, that is me. Do I need to be logged in? Okay, get out of that. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, apparently I need to be logged in, which is not helpful for what I want to do right now. So, I don't know if you could hear it, I was just playing one of my reels, but it's... I have some weird reel names. But yes, there was a few songs throughout that where barking is an appropriate response. And like I said, to be fair, they are very pretty men. So there were probably people that would have barked even without the song. But I was informed of this by streamer Raven Alternative, who also has seen ATEEZ live and has also barked at them live. And I kind of thought at the time when she said that, that's an odd thing to do. Why would you do that? And I get it now. And so I was like, I can't hold the moral high ground on that one now because I've done it too. You see, yes. So Raven was the one that got me into ATEEZ in the first place. A year ago, I was not even aware of who they were. Now I've seen them live. A year ago, I would not have seen that coming. Also, again, due to the fact that I haven't been to a concert in like 5 years before this one, so it's a little bit. It was a little bit unexpected in that one, but I was feeling like I wanted to go to see some live music. 'Cause I hadn't done that in so long. I did not want to see live music around where I live because realistically, it's mostly just like local artists is probably the best way to put it. And I wanted something bigger than that. And ATEEZ was a pretty big jump for that. And they were a lot of fun. And I actually learnt some new songs of theirs that I then added to my list because I'm relatively new to them, so to speak. So I had not been overly aware of all of their things. So we learned some new things. And the local artists where I lived, yeah. So like they're fine, but I was like, I wanted something bigger than that. So I went to like, I jumped from like pub level artists to arena level artists, and that is a little bit of a jump. I don't regret it. I had a lot of fun. Even with the headache, that was still worth it. I would do it again. And because like I still have a little bit of a headache now, but it took so many painkillers to get rid of that damn thing. That headache did not want to move, which is not fun. But no, definitely worth it. And so a live Japanese band, there were foreign DJs, and oh, that's pretty cool. So I can't say, yeah, like now that I've gone to see one live band, I kind of want to see more now, which is not great for my wallet, because that shit adds up. Because outside of pub artists, I need to travel to see basically anyone else. So, like I said, it all adds up. Sorry, I'm fiddling. It's also because I was like, I keep this on hand because occasionally the lipstick needs a touch up using VE Cosmetics. And in case anyone was wondering, use code RAVEN for 10% off at checkout. I don't get anything from that, but someone could. But yes. That was my weekend, and I would very much do it again if I generally had more energy. But I don't. I have energy for work, and I have energy for streams, and occasionally photography. Prices locals are pretty cheap. Techno's the priced one ever because it took 2 days pass. Oh, cool. See, I don't do a lot of festivals. Same reason, basically, though. Because, like, all of the good ones I'd have to travel for. So, it has to be, like, really good to get me to be willing to go and spend multiple days also complicated by the fact that I live alone with my cat, and she does not like me being gone more than a night. She doesn't even like me being gone for a night, but she will survive that. But and I don't have any people near where I live who I can trust enough to look after my cat. So I couldn't even really go for multiple days at a festival, which is a little bit annoying. I can get away with overnight trips because I just need to make sure that the cat's food is loaded up and her toilet is empty. And then she will survive until I get back the next day. She won't be happy with me the next day, but she will survive it. Definitely at least one each season, but I don't have it in me to go to festival or other events. But like, that's fair. It seems like it would take a lot of energy to do that, and I don't have that at the best of times. Let alone in an unfamiliar environment. So I get it. Like, I like the idea of festivals, but I could not do one myself. So a lot of respect for the people that do. I'm guessing a lot of them are not autistic, because there's a lot of it for me is because I'm just like, change in routine and circumstances and exposure to lots of unfamiliar things. I can deal with one or two of those at a time, but dealing with everything all at once, not so great. So festivals probably won't happen. Like even at last night's the concert, like I had a great time, but even then I was still feeling like I was getting close to my limit with it. I loved it. The whole time that I was there, but I could feel the part of my brain that was just like, this is getting a problem, and I'm just like, we paid to be here. We are going to be here for the whole thing. Don't ruin it with your autism. And again, I was saying this to myself just in case anyone was wondering. Takes a lot of money in the first place. I just go in a bar with a friend. Yeah, that's fair. That sounds like I feel like I could do that. That sounds a lot more fun to me personally. It's just like going out for drinks. I could do that. Also means I can leave whenever I want, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on stuff. So, yeah. I've never been a big party goer, but I think a lot of that is as well, like, mostly due to the fact that when I was younger, I got ignored a lot. So even if there was parties happening, I wasn't getting invited to them. So, so I wouldn't necessarily, I don't know if I would have been more interested in parties if I got invited to more of them when I was younger, but it was, that is an experience I cannot unfortunately do anything about, because like that time has passed. And now I just do what I can to try and make my life fun in my own ways these days. So that's the way to do it. I spent too much of my life trying to make other people happy that I did it at the detriment to my own happiness. And due to some not fun events that happened a couple of years ago, the part of my brain that wanted to do that basically just went, nah, fuck that. Screw that. Screw those people. You be happy now. So now I do what I can to try and do that. Only left an event early twice. One time because I didn't like the music. Second because I met a girl and she wanted to get out. And you know what? Valid. That is a pretty valid reason. That I would probably leave for that reason too. Yeah, that is a totally fair reason to want to leave early. But also, yeah, not liking the music. That's the other thing. Like, if you're going there to have fun and you're not having fun, then, like, I guess that it sucks that you've spent money and, like, you've now kind of wasted that money. But if you're not having fun, then what's even, like, there's no point in staying because you're just forcing yourself to be uncomfortable for longer. And hopefully, you know, depending on the event, if you get out early enough, maybe you can even get some sort of reimbursement. I don't know how festivals work. I don't know if you can tell that from the everything about me, but it's yeah. I don't know how festivals work. Do they do refunds? I feel like they probably don't, but maybe they do. I do not know. First time was at Metal Rock, and I just wanted to go somewhere. Genre's not really my thing. That's fair enough. Because like that's, again, like if you're not having fun with it, then there's not really a point to continuing forcing yourself through it. So yeah, like I said, I've never actually been to a festival. That was more my brother's thing. He did get invited to a lot of parties, generally not passing that invitation on to me, which was a little bit annoying, but he's dead now, so that lifestyle may not necessarily have agreed with him. Sorry, I just kind of threw that out there a little bit. I realized that I tend to do that. Biggest problem with going to shows, going alone sucks after a while. Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, no, I get that. Like that's one of those things where like there's some events, some things that you do that like going by yourself is like beneficial, but there's other stuff where it's just like having an extra person with you could make it a lot more fun. Like I go to the cinema by myself all the time because realistically you're sitting in silence for most of the time anyway. So having another person there, apart from potential makeout opportunities, the movie is going to be the same regardless. But something like, live music or festivals and so on like that, having an extra person with you, one, is good for security, and two, it also means that if the music is not your vibe, then you have someone to talk to, so or someone to interact with other than yourself. I did kind of think I was going to be interacting with more people at the concert that I went to over the weekend, due to the fact that we pretty much all shared a very similar interest in at least one thing. That did not end up happening. Everyone kind of just stuck to their own little groups. So that part of the plan kind of backfired a little tiny bit, but it's I still had a good time. Everyone in here all had a good time. But yes, unfortunately, the socialization aspect of going to the concert didn't really happen. So, oh well. I went to the show and I saw the show and I enjoyed the show, and that was the main thing. Like I knew I was going to enjoy it. I think that also helps as well. Can still vibe a little with doing it alone, just not it. Yeah, that's fair. Trying to meet someone. Socialization, that's the word. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like having, like I said, I was hoping to interact with more people, but yeah, most people just seemed, outside of just like the initial small talk, most people just seemed to stick to themselves. So I didn't want to force the issue. So I just let them be, and I just enjoyed the show myself. And it was good. There is also always going to be other opportunities for socialization. i.e., for example, streaming. That kind of works. I mean, it's kind of works as socialization, I suppose. I guess. But yes, so we did that, and luckily I did not, this was one of those few stories that I have where I don't nearly die. I have far too many stories which involve me nearly dying, and I don't know why. Because it's basically like pick a subject and I can probably tie something back to how I nearly died doing something like that. Which, given that, again, I was not an overly social party person, how have I nearly died as many? I've nearly died like 4 or 5 times. That is 4 or 5 times more nearly dying than the average person should be doing. I really don't know how I managed this. But I guess that just goes to show that, you know, I'm hard to take down. Because God's tried to take me down in 5 different ways, and I'm still standing. So fuck that. Not getting rid of me that easily. But yes, so in hindsight now, I realize that it's probably a good thing that this is one of those stories which I can tell, which do not involve me nearly dying. Living on the edge, well, not by choice most of the time. Because it's just like, I've nearly drowned. I've nearly had heart failure from dehydration. I've been strangled by a snake. There's other ways, I just don't remember them, but those are the main 3 that come to mind. And so yes, most of those were not by choice. So it's kind of, it's living on the edge, but not the way that I would like to be living on the edge. Me traveling to concerts is as close to living on the edge that I am happy to voluntarily do. I'm actually okay with not nearly dying every now and then. That was a weird sentence. But yes, it's a lot of those stories are stories that I have told, but I will be largely keeping them for when I do have redeems, because I'll have some sort of, I don't know, story time or trivia or something along those lines that I can then share those stories with the class, so to speak. I was trying to think about if I've nearly died by fire. I've definitely burnt myself in some very not fun ways, but I don't think I've nearly died. My ex seemed to be a lot more like things fire related happened to them a lot. Because despite the fact that they lived just outside of the city, they got involved. They were like their family. Bushfires followed their family basically, which was really funny because I lived in the country and yet I was drowning nearly. I was in the country. She lived in the city and she was surrounding herself with bushfires. And I'm just like, how does that even work? That is the wrong way around. Can't even think if it was close to death even once. Good. Keep it that way. Like I said, majority of the ones that the majority of my ones were not by choice. So if you can keep yourself out of near-death experiences, I would recommend it. If you can have fun without nearly dying, that's great. Most of the reasons that mine happened were not because I was trying to do stuff that were fun, they were just things that happened. But it was, yeah, like I said, drowning and dehydration. I got both ends of the spectrum on that one. And nearly dying from both of those. And yeah, being, what was it? I think I fell down some stairs maybe. Like just managed to avoid having something bad happen in that area. And yeah, being strangled by a snake. And funnily enough, that was the friendly snake. We had a couple of snakes when I was younger, and the other snake bit my brother a lot. My brother didn't have a lot of luck with animals. I did. Animals loved me. This one perhaps loved me a little bit too much because it was getting uncomfortably close around my neck. And apparently I was going purple. I don't blame the snake though, because that's like, it's what snakes do. It wasn't a wild snake. No, my dad, he worked for like, I guess an equivalent of like something like our animal rescue or something like that when I was younger. So he also did like training for well, handling wild animals essentially. Again, when I was younger, he hasn't done that in years. But so we had a few snakes. We had a couple of tortoises, cats and dogs, several birds. I couldn't tell you what kind of birds, but several birds. And I feel like there was a lizard in there somewhere. And so those two snakes were pythons. So they're not venomous, but they were not. They were still animals. So, animal shelter mate. Well, it was, yeah. So I think because like we kept some of these ones on hand because like he was licensed to hold on to them until we could get them to like a shelter or something like that. So the snakes were like permanent residents. So like that we had like we owned the snakes. And like we had the full setup for the snakes and the tortoises, but any other animals were basically just like we would hold on to them long enough to get until like we could get them to a shelter. Strangely just a python thing, yeah. For the most part, it's which was funny that like the other snake that we had kept biting my brother because again there was no venom, so my brother was just getting bitten. So he was pissing the snake off somehow. I have no idea. The snakes were fine with me, and like they would be cool with me handling them and being around them. I just happened to have been unsupervised during one of those times. My fault again because I chose. Well, I didn't choose to do it. I wanted to enter. I was a child. At this, keep in mind, I was like below the age of 12. And, you know, I'd been around the snake long enough to know how to handle it roughly, but I was also still a child, and snakes can be surprisingly strong. And so snake was just doing its thing. It was just hanging around on me, and it was getting a little bit too close for comfort around the neck region, and luckily my brother was with me at the time and he went to get my dad, and my dad was able to get the snake off me whilst I was still able to breathe. So it was, well, like I said, I don't blame the snake because it's what snakes do. As far as I'm aware, it just thought I was a large warm tree. Interactions with snake is me going into towards small snake and shows for biology and shit all over my nose. I'm sorry to hear that. That does sound about right. They are not notably too worried about where they shit. That I have noticed. So I was fine around snakes. Well, to be fair, I'm taking very small sips because I don't want it to interrupt my talking too much. And I only opened it like an hour ago. I could probably chug it like if I really wanted to, but I'm also trying to save the makeup a little bit. And if I drink too heartily, it will scrape some of it off. So saves me having to reapply later. But in general, it's been handling pretty well, this VE Cosmetics makeup. But it's but yeah, so like snakes, I've never had an issue with snakes growing up because of the fact that like I grew up around snakes. Now spiders, they can all go to hell. Like I'm in Australia. We are like stereotypically noted for um, our variety of spiders. Just my can don't last longer than 10 minutes. That's fair. I mean, if I wasn't streaming, it probably wouldn't last longer than 10 minutes. But because I am streaming, like I said, I don't want it to interrupt my talking. So, yeah, so it lasts a little bit longer whilst I'm streaming. And as long as I remember that it's still there, like I've definitely had times where I've streamed and then I've forgotten that I had it whilst I was, because like basically stream stops and then it's just like, okay, brain resets essentially. And then when I was working on my computer doing something the next day, I was like, oh, I could really go for a monster. And I was like, oh, I've got one here. Oh, there's still something in it. Cool. And then I'm just drinking like day old monster. Still works. It's just not particularly fresh. But yes, Australia is not generally great when it comes to like the whole spider thing, because we have a lot of them, and the general rule of thumb is like the bigger they are, the less dangerous they're generally going to be for people anyway, and like the smaller they are, the more likely they are to be a pain in the butt. And yeah, so there's huntsman spiders, for example. They can grow to be quite large, but they are generally harmless. Still doesn't mean I want one in my house. Just because they're harmless, that does not mean I want it in my house. Because like, it's like, yes, it may be harmless, but when you've got a spider that's like, I'm trying to think, maybe like the size of my palm, so to speak, I don't want that near me. Huntsman, if you looked up huntsmans, yeah, like the average adult huntsman is probably about the size of my palm. Luckily, I tend to just get babies that in my house, so they tend to be sort of relatively smaller. But like I said, just because they're harmless does not mean I want it in my house. Even as people are like, oh, but they'll get rid of the other insects for you. They'll get rid of the mosquitoes. They'll get rid of like the smaller spiders. And I'm like, that's nice. I also don't want it landing on my head when I'm asleep. How about that? So deep rock galactic. Yeah, there's a bit of that. So they're big, but mostly harmless. But it's more the like the redback spiders and the white-tailed spiders. They are like they are tiny, but they are also quite venomous. So they generally have a squished on sight order in my house, whereas the huntsmans are just like, please leave. I'll try and shoo them out. Like if they want to go be in the garden, they can go be in the garden. I'm not going to stop them from being in the garden. That's fine. But if it's a redback spider or a white-tailed spider, I don't know why I started over that, then squished on sight. Because no, I got a cat. I don't want to risk anything happening to her. It's cool they keep away, but I don't feel like exactly. Yeah, it's just like that. That's great that they keep the other animals away, but I also I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk interacting with it. Luckily, the main place that I see huntsmen in my house is in my bathroom, and my bathroom is like white paint, so I can generally see quite clearly when they are in the same room. Luckily, they tend to not bother me. I've got one little one that's currently living in my bathroom on my ceiling. He's been keeping his distance though, so I'm not too worried about him. But yes, I'm not entirely sure how I got onto the subject of spiders, but it's that's why you will not be seeing me playing the game literally called Huntsman. I've seen people playing that game. It does not look fun for me for several reasons. It's also why I will not be playing the latest Resident Evil game. Apart from the fact that I don't think my computer can play the latest Resident Evil game. But also the fact that there is a like mini boss somewhere in the game, I don't remember specifically where, that I've seen a few people playing that is a giant fucking spider. And I'm just like, no. I'm good. I mean, I played Resident Evil 4, which also had spider enemies. However, the graphics for that one were not great. Graphics are a lot more realistic nowadays. That is a problem. Same goes for Grounded, yeah. If I can avoid games that have big fucking spiders in them, I'm probably gonna skip them. I mean, like, use this for example. So, I will not touch those games. I have a massive case of thalassophobia. That is a deep fear of the ocean and deep water and basically anything living within that. Basically, if I can't see the bottom of where I'm swimming / boating, I ain't going in it. And yet one of my subscriber goals, when I am able to do, no, as a follower goal actually, not a subscriber goal, is to play a game, the game Subnautica or something very similar, depending on what my computer can handle. And I'm willing to face those fears for the cases of entertainment. I am not willing to do spider-based games for entertainment. Not so much. Like I said, I have a severe case of thalassophobia, largely due to that little thing I was saying before about nearly drowning as a child. I fell off a boat and sunk like a rock. So I don't love things to do with the ocean, but I am okay about playing ocean-based games for the sake of entertainment. But there is a reason that is one of my higher-up follower goals. There were spider-like enemies in RE4. I thought there was. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game. I don't remember. I could be thinking of a different game. It's very possible. I've seen a lot of playthroughs of a lot of different Resident Evil games, and I feel like there's some spider. It may not be Resident Evil 4. I feel like I just think that because that's the only game that I've physically played myself as opposed to having watched. But it's possible I am thinking of a different game. But anyway, the point of that being, fuck that. I will not be playing games with big old spiders in them if I can avoid it. But I'm willing to put myself through fish-based games, despite having a massive fear of the ocean. My brain is funny like that, so it's I don't know why my brain is the way that it is. It's just a bit funny like that. So funnily enough, so I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit at the moment. Been streaming for a little bit, and it's been 90% talking. I kind of figured this was going to be a story time stream, because, you know, the fact I actually did stuff. That's so rare for me. So I had a lot of stuff to talk about. The main gist of it being concert good, headache mostly gone, nearly died a few times, but not relating to this particular trip, and retro gaming, good fun while it lasted. And yeah, so what I might do is I might raid out. That's all right. Hopefully everyone's been having a great night. Thank you to those that have stuck around. I appreciate that. And for those who came in from the raid, welcome. I don't know if Crow is back from preparing his dinner. If he is, welcome. Thank you again for the raid. or the raid in, I should say. So thank you for that. It's all very appreciated. Thank you for everyone who stuck around. That is also appreciated. I'm aware that for a lot of people, it is very late in the evening. So thank you for staying up. Hopefully it is because you just have a messed up sleep schedule, and I am helping to fill that time during that. So yeah, I'm going to go raid out. I have a couple of potential options at the moment. If anyone has any preferences, I will eventually, when I have redeems, I will make a raid redeem as well. But in the meantime, let's have a look. We have someone that I'm following who is playing Signalis. We, funnily enough, also have someone who is playing Resident Evil, as I was just saying then. Been a pleasure to hang out. Thank you. Thank you, Bean. I appreciate you hanging around and having a chat. Hopefully was good fun. I didn't freak you out by getting you to look up spiders. So what I might do is, we're going to jump into Peng. It's a VTuber. They are the ones that are currently playing Signalis. Let's go get a raid started on them. Hopefully this will work. Last time I've had occasional issues, like my ability to raid is sometimes a little bit fucked up, but hopefully it will work and I can connect to the stream. But for those that are still here, thank you for joining. I don't currently have a raid message to my knowledge. I will need to set that up at some point. But have a great night/morning, and I'll see you all next time. Keep it real, guys. Be good.